We OG, we OG. Oh no, G. You're not bullish enough. Yeah. Oh no, you're not bullish enough. You ain't got the oh no. I get stoned by the bolo. Bitcoin set to overload. Yeah. Experts on reload. Yeah, yeah. You're not bullish enough. Yeah. Oh no, you're not bullish enough. You ain't got the oh no. I get stoned by the bolo. Bitcoin set to overload. Experts on reload. Mempool getting hot. Everybody wanna rock. Ayy. Runes is coming. Everybody on a knot. Ayy. It's a nuisance. Ordinal Revolution. Ayy. Ordinal Revolution. Yo, is my guy for real, bro?
Run stuff.
Got French right now. Yo, BRC 420, bro. Yo, that shit on fire, bro. Imagine if he in here. Yeah, lock it in the seal. Murder. I got balls of steel. Nookies on the field. Yeah, this shit for real. With no calls, I get so far. Got 100 phone calls that I go hard, and they gon' love me. Smoke weed, huddle back. I get shiesty. Where my Bitcoin looking lovely. All this Satoshi's nothing above me. Bitcoin's alive, what you gon' do? Mempool fees are high. Ordinal. Where does it stop? Nobody knows. It's a revolution, ayy. Bitcoin is the one, no substitution, ayy. With Shizzy and Yagobi, it's Ordinal Revolution.
Welcome back to Ordinal Revolution. My name is Shizzy. On this channel, we cover the entire Bitmap, entire Bitcoin. We cover the entire Bitcoin Ordinal ecosystem. What's up, guys? We've made a show for you guys today. It's the end of the month. It's finally here. We're finally reaching February. We had a good month though. All in all, Bitcoin's up 12% on the month, so that's pretty good. We got a lot of things to talk about today. We're going to talk about Odin.Fun. We're going to be talking about Tether on the Lightning Network. And we got a lot of good stuff to talk about today. At 12:30 today, we're going to have Jake from Emblem Vault on for the Emblem Hour. We're doing that every Friday now. And it's also Fluid Fridays. Got some updates from Fluid, so that should be good a little bit later as well. So let's get the show started. Without further ado, let's bring my partner here, as always, Mr. Yagobi. Dude, I don't know what's up with me today, man.
Well, it's because I know you still have Bitmap in your heart. That's the thing,
Yeah,
man.
man.
You can't stop thinking about Bitmap, brother. Nah, it's Friday. The energy is back. The energy is back, and there's so many things that to be excited about, and that's how quick our space works, man. You can shift from like very down sentiment like 2 days before, and then now I feel like this energy is just not just the re-emergence of runes in the Bitcoin ecosystem, but just across the board. Things look like we might be heading in a very bullish season. So let's keep that energy going.
Yeah, man, 100%. I agree. Let's kind of get into it here. Bitcoin shows nearly a 12% gain this month. So far, historically, February shows positive returns almost every year in the last 12 years, except for 2014 and 2020. And I have this cool chart here. Let me bring this up. Right, show my screen. All right, so if you can see this, you had January up 11% so far. So probably a little 12% now because we do end tonight. So it's probably going to finish around 12, 13% for the month of January. And, it's looking really good. Back in 2021, which we're kind of comparing this, it's pretty much on track, right, of last time. And you've seen a 36%, jump in February. And I think we could do the same thing, that would bring Bitcoin up to about 140 by the end of February. That would be an amazing February.
It would be an amazing February, and it could possibly, play perfectly into, leading into the alt season, right? And so, because what will typically happen is ETH will run hard and Bitcoin will kind of run hard together. Bitcoin will kind of pull back, but ETH will continue, and then, the alts will continue on as well. So hopefully that's what we get, man.
Yeah, 100%. It's looking back to last year, You know, we were up 0.62% last year, but I remember last year it was January wasn't like that amazing, but February was. So even last February, we had this giant, massive push up, and then same thing in March. I think we repeat, dude. I really do. I think the next February and March are going to be absolutely insane, and maybe April's the same way as well. That's what I'm saying. I think we get 6 weeks of bullishness, which would put us right into March, and then mid-March, and then maybe we have a couple weeks of sideways, and then with a couple more, like another 6 week pull up in the summer, we actually have that crypto summer. But we might not, because I've noticed now every summer we call bullishness and everyone's at the beach. So maybe not.
I see it a different way. Obviously, we
Yeah.
don't know how it's going to play out. Maybe we get like a 4 to 6 week push up for alts in the spring, and then pull back, but like some fun stuff in the summer, nothing crazy, and then we get that 6 week kind of finish off the year Q4 style, like that, like how a typical post halving year goes, and that's what I'm hoping for. Bullish sentiment in the spring, but not like, oh, this is the end all be all. But I want that in Q4 of this year. But we definitely need a push up to level up the rest of the ecosystem.
Yeah, man, 100%. All right, let's get into some news here. Elon Musk says there will be no inflation in 2026 if the Department of Government Efficiency cuts $4 billion per day in U.S. spending. Is that possible, do you think? Do you think we could really cut $4 billion a day in U.S. spending and have zero inflation in 2026?
If there's no pushback and Elon gets to do pretty much what he wants to, I do. But I think there's going to be pushback. We've already seen some pushback from our government in terms of like freezing, federal funding, in terms of group funding and stuff like that, just to make sure what's going out and leaving the country is, responsible and stuff like that. But one person I would never challenge to that, to think that he couldn't complete a goal is Elon if he has full control. The guy's like extremely type A, we know that, and he's just accomplished so much. So if he does have the reins, then I think it could be done. But we might see a lot of infighting, along the way.
Yeah, 100%. And yeah, I mean, that's a big goal. It's a huge goal. But let's just say we do get to 0% interest rates. And this happens. I mean, that would be insane. That would be insane for our markets. You know what I mean? If we're no inflation, 0% interest rates. 0%? I mean, there's no reason to we could. We were there in March of 2021. Or So it's just
it wasn't. Are you talking about like just the general
from bank to bank? Bank to bank. I only talk about bank to bank.
Okay. Yeah. I mean,
we were 0% for a whole year from COVID to the following March.
That's whenever people were getting the refinancing and stuff, right?
Yes, 100%. Well, people were getting it for like 0.5% interest rates, because bank to bank it was 0, but the bank still has to make money. So that's where the consumer comes in.
I mean, that must be like a 1,000-point credit score to get 0.5, because like that's the absolutely.
I know some people who got that. I know some people
really
who got 0.75. Yeah, 0.5. I mean, you didn't when it was 0% interest rates for that. I think it was like 6 to 8 months or whatever it was. I mean, it was a long time. I mean, people were refinancing for almost nothing.
Yeah, I think the lowest I heard was 1.5%. But we'll see what happens this next year, and if they stick to the plan.
Yeah, man. Trump's World Liberty just bought another 2.9 ETH, 2.9 thousand ETH, worth almost $10 million, bringing the total holdings to 63,000 ETH. And let me show you their actual thing here. So this is their portfolio. So last time I showed us, they were at 390 million. Obviously, some prices have gone up since then, but they're adding, dude. They're adding to ETH, which is really, really bullish for altcoins. We need ETH to explode for altcoins to really kind of push up here.
Yeah, I agree. And for the people who are like, oh, who cares about ETH? If you have, Bitcoin layer 1 assets, they're obviously waiting for the kind of sell down of Bitcoin to go into different assets as well. So it's going to be, the timing's going to be around the same, I imagine.
Yeah.
And so I think it's going to be bullish for everybody at that point. So excited for this next move. It definitely feels like we're starting to kind of get out from underneath like the dark cloud. And so let's hope this momentum continues. I mean, there was a big leg up yesterday for ETH. A lot of people have been talking about it. So, next target probably 4K, and then once we get there, I think people will be pretty on board with, okay, this is it.
Yeah, 100%. Like we really need ETH to kind of be that launch pad for us here. If ETH can kind of really kind of push up and get to 4K, 5K even, I mean, what that's going to do for all the other assets is really going to push the narrative that alt season's here, and the money that's on the sidelines is going to be poured in very quickly when people are saying, "Yo, it's time," right? And there's people out there saying, "We're not going to get an alt season. There's too many coins." I disagree with that. I think the alt season is going to be so massive that it's going to blow minds because there's so much money in USDT and USDC and all over in these stable coins, and that money, 20%, APY is awesome, but not when you're missing out on hundreds of percent of of winnings here. So
Yeah, we've mentioned this multiple times in the past couple of weeks that how much stable coins are on the sideline. They're on the sideline for a reason. Whales are getting ready, but they're not going to pull the trigger because they're very smart with their decisions and they're calculated and they're waiting. And so it seems like this might be just the first little step for them to say, okay, I'm starting to get ready to deploy. I know where I've been spending the last 2-3 weeks on where I want to deploy.
yeah,
And once I get that green light, it's on. And then that's going to be a trickle effect.
100%, man. Next thing here, Sam Bankman-Fried's parents explore seeking a pardon from President Trump for their son. Trump would be stupid to do this, right?
I think he would be stupid, but one thing that I seem to have kind of noticed about Trump is that he likes when he gets kind of praised and liked by the opposition and stuff like that. So I think they can try to use that to their favor. But yeah, I would imagine that this would be a no. But they're going to try to influence him somehow, whether that's like campaign or like not campaign, but like donations or whatever, they're just going to try because they're parents at the end of the day. Like, yes, their kid did something horrible, but like if your kid messed up, obviously there's probably like a line there, but you'd want to help them. And I think that's what they're going through right here.
Yeah, 100%. And so let's just say Trump does. Trump's like, you know what? These guys, Democrats, let's bring them to the Republican side. Let's have them have my back here. And make them have a favor. You have a favor for them now. So, and they're big. They're big in MIT, right? The parents, they're very, very rich to say the least. So I mean, he could do this. But what happens with Sam? Sam gets out. Does he start? What happens if he starts a crypto project?
Well,
are you an investor?
No, absolutely not. Now, like maybe in the very beginning until his house of cards falls out. No, I'm just kidding. Yeah. I think he starts degenning right away, dude. Like, because like he obviously was a degen and he was arbitraging. I mean, at the end of the day, the guy's smart. He was just got caught up with like a lot of greed, a lot of I think cockiness as well. Like, I'm on top of the world, no one can touch me, and that world started crumbling down really fast, right? So I imagine that he's going to try to go into some sort of tech sector if he does come out, whether that's AI or something. But he's a smart guy, so we'll see what happens. Bad smart guy though.
I see him being an anon dev and just creating this, like, dude, he could create an amazing project, right? I feel like he really could. I mean, he definitely has the insights of doing something like that, and he probably knows the people that can help him build. I don't know. I would invest in if he came out with like a decentralized DEX or something, like a hyper liquid type of thing. I would probably get into it. Like, I'm not gonna lie. So, but that's the thing though. Some people make mistakes, and it's like, I'm not gonna make the same mistake twice. But he probably
that's a pretty big mistake though.
He used customer funds. Leave the guy alone.
Okay.
No, it wasn't my money, so I don't. Yeah. So Pump.fun is getting hit with a class action lawsuit. So this is not coming from the SEC. This is actually coming from a law firm in New York, and they're claiming Pump.fun was screwed them over because they weren't able to get out of a trade and they weren't using their product and stuff like that. So what do you think about this? We're doing class action lawsuits against dApps.
Yeah, I think this is ridiculous. I mean, you're an adult, you know what you got into. I actually was worried when I first saw this because I thought that it was the SEC that was bringing the hammer down, and so I was like, why isn't the price like dumping from this. And then you pointed out to me, no, they just brought up securities violations.
Yeah.
So basically, you know, this is a civil lawsuit, which is completely different. And, you know, the SEC probably actually doesn't even want to like mess with this because they're just like, we just got out of all that kind of stuff, you know? So this is going to be a personal thing. Now, do I see stuff like this in the future happening? Probably. Do I see it being reported at, you know, as much? I think it starts to get reported less and less. But because like Pump.fun is going to have, you know, a lot of money to be able to fight this. But we'll see.
Yeah, I mean, and the big thing here would be the SEC coming out and saying, no, Pump.fun, they're not securities. That would be the biggest thing that ever happened for our space. The SEC chairman, right? Obviously Gary's gone, but the new SEC chairman coming out and saying these are not securities. This lawsuit is, you know, there's no need for us to go to this court hearing. And what does that do? That the lawsuit's dead. It's gone because they're, you know, the SEC, who is, you know, Security Exchange Commission, they say this is not a security. So
yeah, I don't even think they're going to get involved though. You know, unless the lawyers try to bring them in to prove their point. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
and that's what's going to. Yeah, and so you know, but we'll see. Yeah. Maybe they do kind of go out there and set like a strong, I guess, statement that, you know, it's a meme coin. There's no centralized entity behind each of these coins and stuff like that type of thing.
We still need them to come out like regardless and tell us if they're securities or not. I need to know if the node monkeys, if the puppets, if, you know, the crypto punks are securities, because Gary didn't tell us that. We still don't know. Who, you know what I mean? So we're still kind of waiting for that. And obviously, 6 days, 7 days in to the new administration, SEC, but I'm still waiting for that. I thought that maybe we would have some type of clarity on some stuff, but maybe they're drawing it up in the back end here. So
yeah, maybe.
So this stuff has nothing to do with crypto, but I just thought it was going to crash markets today, but I was wrong. So President Trump officially announces 25% tariffs on Canada and Mexico. I thought today was going to be a little bit on the red side, but it's not really making the markets down. Do you think so? This starts tomorrow, Saturday. Do you think potentially this could cause some, you know, let's just say the S&P or the NASDAQ to drop, which could cause our markets to drop next week?
No, because I think it's been kind of baked in, right? Because this is an expectation that we've had for a while here. He said it in his campaign trail, and then you know, people have talked about it, and so I think it's been baked in, and that's probably why there was some rough goings on with the you know, traditional market the past couple months, as well as Bitcoin kind of volatile, right? But now it seems like, you know, the tariff approach works for certain things, you know, to get like chess moves. In terms of like the economy, I think we're gonna really see in the next like 6 to 12 months, right? Because of some of the products that will be coming in, avocados, stuff like that, you know, see what the you know, how much of a price impact it has at the grocery store and at like the retail at big box stores and stuff like that. So that is something I think that we will know more about heading into Q4 actually, right? So we'll see, man. We'll see how much, because obviously the consumer does have to kind of eat that. But one thing that I've been hearing a lot from this administration is talking about like abolishing federal income tax. And I think that's a way for Trump and this administration to kind of, you know, absorb that impact for retail good price increase, because they're, you know, basically you're not paying the federal income tax, so you're able to save there if you have to pay a little bit more here and there. And if you're getting more money, you become more of a focusing on more being a good steward of your own money, right? So now you're like, okay, well, this is more expensive than it used to be. I don't really need that. Cut that out, and then you could save more money over time. But we'll see how it plays out, because I think that's going to be a tough hurdle to get across, canceling the federal income tax. But we'll see.
Yeah, and it definitely opens up, you know, other places in the U.S. to make out, you know, help like create avocados, right? Farm avocados, or you know what I mean. If it's done in California now, you know what I mean. Maybe you don't buy the you know, avocados from Mexico, like, you know what I mean. Maybe you buy the ones from California.
You guys get those commercials too?
No, yeah, we do. Unfortunately, it gets stuck in your head. So next thing here is Bitcoin retail investors sent $625 million to Binance in January, while the whales hold off on major selling as the markets heat up. So all the selling we've seen in January has been from retail, scared retail investors selling their crypto cheap to BlackRock right now, because BlackRock's has been one of the biggest buyers, from their ETF in the last month. So it's going in Binance and coming out into the ETFs and stuff like that. Obviously not directly, but in the terms of selling and buying.
Yeah. Well, also this could be a sign for some of the retail whales that have been getting into stable, right? So maybe they're converting it into stable and sending it the stable back to their wallets, and they're just sitting. That would still give Bitcoin more attractive price for BlackRock, right? Because it's going to bring the price down. So and they're just kind of eating up the Bitcoin that ends up getting sold off. So who knows exactly, but that's the first thing that comes in my mind.
Yeah, man, 100%. The last thing I have here is it's my favorite chart in the world. This is the Bitcoin stock to flow. So tomorrow tonight really, in about 7 hours, we're going to get a new red dot put on Plan B stock to flow. So this is the one from January. So it's going to be right around, let's just say right around here. So it's going to be a little higher than what we've seen. So it's going to be right there. It's a little bit sideways, but it's looking pretty close to what we've seen here. Looking pretty close to what we've seen here and here. You can see, each dot they get a little lighter going into the yellow here, and this is months until next halving. So as you can see, we're still red, so we're still like in the 40 to 35 range. But we're going to start lightening up soon. And every time we started lightening up, we kind of started flying up here. So we have usually about 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So this is now 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I mean, I think we're about to see something like this soon. Some separation here to really kind of push us up, get us going to that 700K number, that Plan B. And I both think we're going to hit this cycle.
Yeah, 700K, man, would be an amazing time. When in the cycle it happens, if we include 2026 into the cycle, because I think there's a 4-year kind of timeline where they're like, okay, the cycle's done. But if price continues to push up, then that can be changed from a perception perspective, right? Or like from just looking at, okay, this is extended super cycle type of situation. So yeah, I mean, it seems far away, but it doesn't seem impossible.
Yeah, 100%. And like you've seen, like this cycle here, it didn't really peak until yellow. This cycle here, the same thing, but this
didn't peak until yellow. I'm just kidding.
Yeah, I mean, it didn't peak until up here, so it's just kind of like it did dip and then come back. But like I think this was kind of forced. Imagine if this was like up here, right, and we got up there, so we would be thinking easily 700K right now. But since we were so like held down last cycle and we didn't see the big pop, I think we look like this. I truly think so. I think maybe we even gets a little higher than my number, right? So we just come through, and if you put this chart on here, then it kind of leads right into 2026, maybe January 2026, February 20. We might have a year right now of straight upward momentum.
Yeah. And who knows, maybe like, if Doge, sticks to plan and stuff, and by like late this year and early next year, things just look really good, and it's being reported consistently to, the through the media, and we just have this bullish kind of environment. And so maybe that's when it happens.
Yeah. So definitely exciting. Looking forward to Plan B's video. He puts out a video every first of the month as well. So I'll be watching that, and I'll let you guys know what I'm thinking on Monday. But let's kind of get into today's fear and greed from the Binance. So last Friday we were at 75. Yesterday we were at 70. What do you think we are today? We're a little higher than last week. My hint for you today.
Last week was 75.
Yeah.
77.
Right there, man.
76.
So.
Okay.
So we're just right there, a little higher than last week, but I don't know, man. I think we get in the 80s and 90s next week. I don't know. I'm feeling bullish, dude. I'm thinking the 6 week starts now. I think we have the most bullish February that we've ever had, and then leading into March, maybe with a cool down at the end of March, going into tax season in April. Dude, I don't know, man. I'm really feeling bullish now. Really feeling bullish. Like there's not a bone in my body. I'd be absolutely shocked if we have a red week in February.
Like one red week.
Yeah.
I never don't expect at least one red week, but 4 really strong weeks in a row. Maybe.
I think 6. I'm thinking 6 green dots in a row.
Yeah, there's going to be a little bit of pullback just to kind of
every bull run
get the greedy people.
Has 6.
Yeah,
Everyone.
yeah,
And it's
but like,
always when no one expects it. January 2021, nobody expected it. And then 6 weeks from January to February.
yeah, I agree with that because everybody was down about
Mhm.
COVID and stuff still.
Mhm.
Well, yeah, I mean, we'll see here, right? So going over the historical data, I do still expect a pop in the spring and a pop in the fall. You know, that was 2017 and 2021. 2021 is different because the spring pop was extremely aggressive and the fall pop was, you know, the spring pop was extremely aggressive, but then pulled back really hard, and then summer, and then the fall pop extremely aggressive and pulled back very hard as well. So I don't expect that two kind of things, but like I do expect bullishness in both of those time periods this year.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, spring's around the corner. Do it Groundhog's Day. I think it's tomorrow. Right. So
Yeah.
so we'll see. Hopefully he doesn't see a shadow. We can have some spring, but we'll see. Let's get into that Bitcoin price action brought to you guys by BitPerp. BitPerp is going to be the leading leverage trading platform in the entire Bitcoin ecosystem. I'm thinking they're going to be like bigger than Hyperliquid. I truly believe that because it's Bitcoin, guys.
Wow.
Like these guys are going to be massive. They're going to be using our ecosystem, and you're going to allow you to trade, big tokens over here like your Ordi, your Sats, and pretty much anything that you want them to trade, that you want to trade over here with leverage. There's a lot of places you can't do that right now. But over here, these guys are going to allow you to do that and potentially add runes, right? Leverage runes could be really fun. Instead of having to go wait 10-minute blocks for runes, you're going to be able to go to BitPerp and take a dog long, take a billion-dollar cat long. These guys are partnered with a lot of different places as well. And we do know that they'll be going on their test net very, very soon. And that's going to be on, what is it? Bionic? No.
Botonics.
Botonics. They're gonna be on Botonics, probably within this month of February, and you guys are gonna be able to trade paper trade. Actually, learn how to trade using testnet. I mean, the only thing you're wasting is your time, but you're also earning. What are you earning? Potentially an airdrop. They haven't said it yet, but I'm thinking, when you earn points, usually what happens is they enrich their community. They basically, help you guys out for helping them out, right? That's kind of what these test nets are for. But yeah, definitely use the test net. Definitely use bitperp.io.
Yep. And before we get into the Bitcoin price action, guys, on the YouTube side, if you could help us out by smashing that like for us and subscribing to the channel and turn your notifications on so you know when we go live. On the X side, guys, hit that like for us. Please share the space so we can educate and onboard as many people to the Bitcoin ecosystem as possible. All right, let's get in some Bitcoin price action. I was actually checking out some runes prices because they have jumped up and there's some energy back there. But let's check out Bitcoin. We're going to start with the hour chart. If it is, there it is. Okay, cool. All right, so let's take a look at the hour chart. We definitely had a strong pull up this morning, got all the way to 106, 123. Then we're seeing a pullback, kind of aggressive too, actually. We're down to like below 105,000, so that was interesting. But yeah, you can see we had this nice glide up. And, the 1 hour chart seems to have kind of changed. Probably the 4 hour chart did for a little bit until this pullback that just happened. Was there some bad news that just came out? I wonder, because that's a pretty aggressive pullback down. Anyhow, we just got over here into bought on the hour chart. We only got to like 92 points on the stochastic RSI, which typically, if it's a super hyper aggressive, push up, will hit towards like 99, 100 consistently over and over. So that seems to be just kind of like maybe like a sprout up and then pull back, and that's what seems to be happening right now. You can see both of the indicator lines, the orange and blue, want to come down, or it seems like they do. And then also, it's interesting because we did have this sell down right overnight, and the sell pressure was there. We went from yesterday at like 106, 500 to really getting as low as 104, like 103.9, right? And then that was that pull back up in the morning. And so, it's just kind of like a pendulum swing in there, right? And so this is whenever ETH kind of really, took off overnight. So I wonder what's happening there. We'll kind of see the correlation later. But anyways, the MACD is showing weakness as well. So I'd like to see this get dark green again and another big green candle happen, maybe like a strong reversal. But what it looks like right now is that it seems to be, done with the the upwards price action for the time being. If anything happens here in the next hour or so, this could definitely turn around. But that's what I'm seeing right now. So second half of today, probably a little kind of sell pressure choppy, maybe like 103 to 105. But again, Bitcoin is extremely volatile right now, so don't be surprised if it does like a complete 180 here in a second. All right, so the 4-hour chart is showing that, we did have that reversal. We wanted to go down, then we popped back up. The 1-hour chart kind of changed that momentum, but then the 1-hour chart changed it again. So it's showing, like it doesn't know what it wants to do. It's waiting on the hour chart to say, hey, how do you want to head into the weekend? Let me know so I can kind of plan accordingly, right? But you can see here, it kind of pulled back, and then now it's reversed a little bit on the stochastic RSI, saying, okay, we might want to go up. Let's take a look here at some support and resistance levels here. I'll bring the data in a bit. We'll go from yesterday at 2 p.m. And you can see here where we are. Yeah, so definitely seeing some more resistance in this 105 area by about 500 transactions there. Above that, the support picks back up, and then it's kind of like a almost an even fight, it seems like, above that. So our task is really getting above this 105.3, and as you can see, we do have some support right underneath here, though. It's not a ton. It's kind of almost the same situation at like 104.5 that is at 105.3, except for the opposite, right? We have support here, there's resistance here, so we're kind of in the middle, just bouncing around. If we can get some bullish price action here and push through this, I think we'll try to get back to that 106. And this is the 4-hour chart, so this is something that probably I'm talking about over the weekend, maybe a Sunday finish to get back above if the hour chart doesn't turn around right now. So that is what I'm seeing for Bitcoin. I would say don't worry about it, because there's no like really bearish news or anything. This is just really kind of price fluctuation, and possibly we might see some sell-off, and then ETH continually go up, and we start to see a little bit of an alt season boom, and that means your stacks, your Merlins, your your runes and stuff like that will most likely start to pump as well. So I think we're in a good situation all in all, guys. So that's what I'm seeing with Bitcoin's price action.
Yeah, man. So the only news that I could find about that was DeepSeek reported 6 million AI training costs is misleading. But that's bullish for the markets. I don't see any other news. Yeah, I honestly just think that this pull down we just seen a couple seconds ago was just the guys going to lunch. They didn't want to hold their positions going to lunch.
Maybe,
because that's the only thing that I could see. It's definitely big money that pushed this down. Probably the ETF and people arbitraging the ETF sales. So I don't know. But let's see what happens when they get back to their desk at 1, because I watch the stock show, and the guy always says like the big traders, they leave their desk at 11, they come back at 1, right? Maybe they were just getting ready for lunch here. So we'll find out what happens between 1 and 4 o'clock. But you got to remember too, today is an options day. It's always the last Friday of the month, so maybe people are selling. Maybe they got out their option calls as well.
Yeah, and that's another thing too, is that you and I talked about, is there might be some, big options players that expected ETH to be a lot higher at this point.
Yeah.
And so maybe there's some price upward manipulation with that. And then the Bitcoin side, I think it's, kind of like not surprising where Bitcoin is at the same time. So maybe Bitcoin sells down a little bit and ETH goes up, but we'll see how it plays out.
Yeah, I'm still kind of expecting like Bitcoin to be finished today at like 106. I don't know. I have a feeling 106, 107, and really push us into next week. Really good weekend. Maybe like a lot of sideways, but I'll push up. But we'll see. Right now we're at 104, 923. So but I really pay attention what happens between 3 and 4 o'clock today. That's when the big boys play with their ETFs. So we'll see.
Yeah.
All right, let's kind of get into that roll call. Let's bring up the first chart. Let's see who is first today. And I'm seeing Webdro. Congratulations to you, my friend. You have won.
Is he still in the lead?
Oh, he killed it now. So let me bring up the chart here, show my screen. So Webdro won yesterday, and he won today as well. First time somebody has won 2 days in a row, I believe.
No, he did.
No, Yashir won 2 days in a row on the 5th and the 6th. And then PJ and Z did it on the 16th and 17th. But yeah. So, and then this is your 6th. So,
yeah, but he did it. Oh, I guess 24th and 27th. So over the weekend. right? So it's
Well, no, Friday and a
Monday.
Monday.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That counts.
So
Back to back.
yeah, it definitely does back to back for sure. So yeah, and PJNZ has done it in 16th and the 17th, and Yasher has done it the 6th and 7th. So it does happen. So congratulations to you, my friend. It's your day. Congratulations. So we'll remove this. WebJoe says, let's actually read his comment. He says, looking for more liquidity. The Bitcoin fee rate is great for creators right now. Yes,
100%.
let's kind of talk about that for a second. So yesterday, the mempool cleared. Did you see that? Like there was nothing in a block.
It was like 1 sat per V-byte, I think it was.
Yeah,
right?
it was nothing in a block. Like the block was like half empty. There was a few things, but like we haven't seen an empty block in a long time. Like a not folded up block, which is crazy. That could have marked the bottom. It really could.
Yeah, it could.
So.
And I think as time goes on too, like let's say that we're I don't know, 4 to 6 months down the road from now, and you know things are hot, and now like digital artifacts and NFTs and ordinals are hot again, and the plan kind of plays out like we said, to where you know you have ordinals on abstract, you have ordinals on base, you have obviously ordinals on Bitcoin because that's where they were birthed. Some of these other creators and stuff will come over and inscribe their collections and then take them over to different places, you know, so that should increase the activity. But I agree. I think that is one of those indicators that you're kind of like, this could be the bomb. That and everybody imploding, including myself 2 weeks ago about runes.
100%, dude. But you can't blame yourself if you're somebody who sold during that time. You really can't blame yourself. I mean, the market was very boring, right? So I mean, if you went to cash, yeah, blame yourself. But if you went to other assets that are going up phase 2, you got to remember 10-minute block times are not as fun, right, as other things and stuff like that. So, but I do believe this ecosystem is in for a huge rise, and I think that comes. And I think Odin Swap, what we're going to talk about in a little bit, is going to really kind of push that forward. We'll get into that a little later. But WebJoe says, sorry, graveyard smashing the like helps keep the Reaper away. Yes, you guys didn't know that by hitting the like button. It keeps you won't die. You definitely won't die. Yeah,
is that true?
It's 100% true, man. Hit the like button and
y'all better be hitting that like button. You should be hitting it anyway.
I Walk Alone says, let's go. Chief Axel is here. My man Yasher, who's here every single day. Appreciate you guys. And Chief Axel, both of you guys, man. Rick G says, Bob's balls. Yeah, Bob's balls went to one.
Rick, you don't understand how much. Okay.
Good.
I don't want to say what I was going to say because it sounds horrible. I was going to say you don't know how much fun we had. So, like, okay, we're going to get into this later, but yeah, that is hilarious. I'll just say that. I'll leave it there.
100%. Rick G says, long live Ordinal Revolution. Yes, please. Node Monkeys at 0.6. So they're not zero. Are they 0.6? Yeah, they are 0.06.
0.06. Yeah.
0.06. Nearing full capitulation. Picked up extra work hours to buy the generational bottom for Ordinals.
Smart man.
So yeah. I mean, if you can afford it, man, $6,500 for a Node Monkey right now, that could be a generational buy. Ordinals Tweets is here. Mempool Punk, Nighthawk UXL, GM fellas, are runes back. I don't know. We'll find out though. I think the weekend will be a good tell. If Dog can hold its market cap through a weekend, I think that'll be the true telling if runes are back, right?
Yeah, I mean, definitely a great start. Now, when I say a great start, I mean a healthy start, not something like, Dog Go to the Moon was at 350 million, kind of bleeding out, and all of a sudden now it's at like 700 million over 2 days. Yeah. That is, to me, I think that'd be too extreme, but it's sitting at like 455 million with some, because I think a lot of the market's thinking kind of like you, like, I don't know if it's back yet, but I'm feeling some energy. I'm hearing some things on the timeline, the hyper liquid, the Odin thing, Lightning. I know that this is separate, but Lightning and USDT, even though like that might not be a part of our ecosystem, the fact that like a stable coin is being injected into the Bitcoin ecosystem, that's good news regardless. In a branded one too, but like one of the biggest ones, right? So I think people are still kind of like you though, and saying, I need a little more. Yeah. Give me some more conviction to where, because I gave you all my conviction before and you broke my heart. So let me get, you're going to have to convince me, quite a bit this time.
Yeah. I mean, we got it, like, show momentum, right? Like we've seen in the past, we've got days where runes have pumped, right? We've seen $1 billion cat go back up, but like if you look on a chart, it's just a bunch of like ups and what is it? Higher low basically, right? So when we can kind of break out of that and kind of really show momentum, I think that's when it starts. And it's okay to buy on momentum. You don't got to buy the bottom. Buying on momentum is actually probably a lot better of a strategy for sure.
Yeah. So like you have to be right, and that's the hard part. Like, you know what I mean? Like you have to be
When you're
like,
buying on
okay,
momentum, it's not. I think
is it
that you
false?
know you're
Is it
right.
a false flag? Is it like a false momentum flag? You know what I mean? Because that's where people can get stuck into something.
I
To
think you can
the
tell by
traders.
the timeline, though. Like, I think you can tell by the timeline for sure. When more and more people are when you go to hashtag runes or type in runes and you can see it on timeline, I think that is more momentum than an actual like upward chart. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I think you learn the more that you do it. It's like, okay, this doesn't feel like a
Yeah.
legit momentum on the timeline, because the timeline could be misleading, dude. Like, let's be honest about it.
I don't know,
But
man.
I'll say
I feel
this.
like the Twitter timeline is more valuable than a chart.
Okay, so let's give an example. I think for
Yeah.
most cases you're probably right, but let's talk about runes. You know, you said that runes has pumped multiple times in the past, and it has, but they're short, sustained pumps. But the
Yeah.
timeline for our Bitcoin ecosystem is going crazy during that time. They're
No,
like, oh my
that
god,
doesn't happen. It
I
hasn't been
have
like that
seen
since
it.
November. It
I
hasn't
have
been like that
seen.
since like this early December.
Yeah, I know, but like that was the last time it pumped. The
But
ecosystem
no,
pumped.
we've had a couple days in a row where being that cat goes back up
Not
and it's just a higher
really.
low. I mean, we have though.
I
We
know,
have
but I
seen
mean, like,
pumps.
not to where it makes an effect is my point, though. You know what I
Well, I
mean?
mean,
Like,
that happened one time last year.
okay. So you said that like, okay, there was times where it went up. What if you caught that momentum at that point? You're screwed because it went right back down.
No, but I'm not saying the chart though. I'm just saying it wasn't there on Twitter. If you would look at the chart and then look at Twitter, you'd be like, oh wow, yeah, I don't really see what I saw December 2nd, right? December 2nd, when $1 Billion Cat was going absolutely ballistic, right? You might have missed the first X, but if you would have got in there, I mean, it went from 8 million to 80 million within 10 days.
Yeah,
Now, that's
I think that started in October.
no, it started in November.
Well, we can look at the chart here.
It happened after Trump, for sure.
Where's the all-time high? Anyways, but yeah, I don't know. I feel like, you know, there's times where the crypto Twitter timeline can give you a pretty good, accurate assessment of this where we are, but there's times where it can be misleading for sure. You know, like, and it's not intentional. Like the AI boom, that was everywhere, right? And people got wrecked in that.
But that was 6 weeks of upward momentum, right? If you called it December 20th and
6 weeks
and you got out like the 15th,
6 weeks of people that were paying attention earlier,
4 weeks,
like on Solana and stuff. But then like when virtuals got hot, you had maybe 2-3 weeks max.
Well, I mean, it depends when you say virtuals got hot. Virtuals got hot like the 15th or 16th. I mean, you had about a month.
Like, so I mean, all over the Twitter timeline is what I'm talking about.
Yeah. You got a whole month. Yeah. I mean, you got to watch buying the top as well. Like, you know what I mean? You don't want to buy. I mean, when something's up, you know, the virtuals went from 800 million to 3 billion in like a few weeks. So
yeah,
for sure. Steamy J says GM. Patty Poo says sup. Nagi is here. Sixes is here. ASAP Benji is here. My guy. Ant-Man is here. Green Man 1714. And then we have Cheaty says, what's up, guys? What's up, my man Cheaty? Malam is here like every single day this week. We appreciate you, Malam. Or I hope I'm saying your name right. If I'm not, please correct me. Here for the price action. Hell yeah. Cryptolution is here. Shout out to you, my friend. It's been a little while with your pizza ninja. I haven't seen you in a while, my friend. Thank you so much for being here. Bitmap Capital is here. Kai Effect is here. And Kai Effect says, I'm holding my bitmaps no matter what. Yeah, I'm actually kind of bearish on bitmaps a little bit. That's just my personal feel for it. Happy Homer is here. Patty Poo is here. No is here. My man Superfan is in the building. Shout out to Superfan here every single day. Appreciate all you guys, man, who are here every single day. So
yep. I'm still pretty decently bullish on bitmaps because of the community. They don't give up.
Community sucks.
They don't give up though. They don't give up, and so
they build, but they don't ship.
You gotta watch out, man. Kai Effect's a part of that community. He's a part of our community. We got
I'm just saying, dude.
People in our community that's a part of it.
I report the news. I see people building, and I see people not shipping. So
yeah, but you can't just put them all together because we have people in our community that are pretty cool. Like, you know what I'm saying?
But I'm waiting for a bitmap DApp to drop out. That's actually bullish, right?
Build it.
And not, yeah. I mean, I don't want to build shit for Bitmap, but that's not my thing. But
Then stop
somebody
talking.
else.
No, I'm just messing.
Well, fuck Bitmaps then.
Look at this guy.
All right. I just don't think it's possible to build something with Bitmaps. I just think there's no funding. You need funding to build something cool. I just think you need funding.
I'm gonna join the Bitmap community spaces, and we're gonna build something badass.
Do it.
Oh
it's
man,
horrible.
I just
No, I'm just kidding.
I don't know. Okay, well let me think about that. But I'll still join the spaces though.
The problem with Bitmap is there's no one to fund these projects because they're community ran projects, and without funding, it's really hard to build cool stuff, right? Like
bro,
without money,
bro, your argument the 2 days ago was like you don't need money. You don't need money.
Well, I mean, you don't need money though. You just
said you need funding.
Hold on, to get off, so you can have a really good idea.
Just take the L, bro. Just take the L. Take the L.
You need a really good idea, and then you can get funding, right? So, but the ideas suck. All right, so no one wants internet on the Bitmap. Like, stop it. But Farmer Joe OX, if the runes that bond it on Odin Fun cannot hit 10 million market cap, we are officially cooked. So let's try to jump right into Odin Fun. I want to bring that up first because that's actually very true. This will be the test of time for Odin Swap. So Odin.fun. I keep saying Odin Swap, but I hate when stuff has the same name. It's so annoying. But I wish Bob did have a better name for this, but I do like the concept. I do like the build and everything like that. He did take Nakib's project Odin Swap and then made it Odin.fun. I get it, the runes, the Odin stuff. I actually asked you last night. I said, why do people keep naming stuff Odin? And you were telling me because it's like a mythical thing.
No, it's a Norse god, and
gotcha.
Runes are a part of Norse mythology, and so that's it. Just makes kind of sense to do that.
Yep. So if you go to Odin.fun, right, it'll take you to the screen. You can log in with your wallet. So this is all done on basically a layer 2 on top of Bitcoin. You do have to deposit. Bob says it takes 1 block, but what we've noticed, it takes a few more than that. But this is in beta right now. It actually launches on Monday. We were given a code, and we actually have some codes, I think, we could give out as well. So just let us know if you guys need a code, and I can try and get you guys one. I think you still have a couple codes, right?
Yeah, I think once you're in, you get
you have 5 codes, yeah.
Okay, yeah. So maybe we can do like some contests for giving some away or something to make it fair.
Yeah, man. So this launched. Bob had this awesome idea to kind of create. It seems like it's a mid-level between ICP and Bitcoin. They're definitely using ICP's technology because there is no gas fee. So once you deposit, let's kind of walk you guys through kind of what it is first, right? So you come here, you'll deposit Bitcoin, and this works pretty much the same way as BetBTC.win. The same exact way. You kind of put the amount you want to put in here, whatever it is, and then you'll confirm deposit. And then in a few blocks, your Bitcoin would arrive here. Does yours ever arrive?
It hasn't, but I just got a message from Bob. So I'm gonna try what he said here.
Yep. So obviously it's still in the testing phase, but yesterday Bob's balls was on fire last night. So it was fun. We're sitting here just cracking up laughing. Bob's balls was a great meme, but Bob's balls last night ran from 200K when we first saw it all the way up to like 1.7 million, and then kind of fell back down here. And then Odin Dog actually took the charge. And I did see people on the timeline that they were saying like, oh yeah, it's only the Cabal is in this and stuff like that. Guys, there's no money in this right now. So saying the Cabal is in this is there basically is no Cabal if you're saying the Cabal is in this, because you're seeing about less than $2 million in liquidity here and stuff like that. So you can kind of come here and you can set your stuff here. So you'll have a PFP and you can put your name. So I did my PFP, I did Shizzy, and then because I'm trying to get all the achievements, right? So I got the new user achievement, I got the set your username achievement, and you come here and you claim them. I haven't sold a token yet, so I can't claim this one yet. But when I do, I will be able to claim that. But I think getting these could be good for potential something in the future. I don't know, but I'm trying to get all the achievements. I don't know. It's fun anyway. It gives you something to do. So definitely collect your achievements. I created the token today. I created Mr. Bondsworth. Just kind of messing around just so I get the achievement. Nothing
Whoa!
crazy here.
You dumped on
It's
everybody, bro.
down. No. I didn't dump on anybody. I didn't sell anything. But there's someone came in after I launched it and they bought like $500 and then they sold $500. So I don't know. It was like 2 sales. But yeah, someone came in and you got to watch that though. People come in after you. Like the second I launched the damn thing, someone bought $500 worth, and I was like, I don't know if that's a good move. And then because I'm not selling my 3.5% of the supply, if you guys are interested in this, but I did launch this just so I can get the achievement. I'm not expecting anything from it. I'm not gonna really push this, so I'm not anything like that. But it was fun. I had ChatGPT help me make this the other day. Me and Yagobi messing around on another chain, and I created this. Just kind of learn how it works and stuff like that. So Mr. Bondsworth is a miserable middle school teacher from Arizona, barely covers rent. So I was trying to make the opposite of Mr. Yen. Right? Yeah, Mr. Yan, he loves his son. Mr. Bond, he doesn't.
He hates work.
Love anything. He hates work. So, if you're interested in this, I'm not gonna rug you. Someone else could buy, and I don't know. But I'm just kind of messing around in this.
Well, it says
it looks like
Shizzy.
Runes Leo. Yeah, that's me. I'm the dev.
You're like, okay, guys, I created this, so don't worry. I'm not selling a penny of it unless it goes to 100 million, right? Then you're gonna sell a penny.
If this bonds, I'll send them to Satoshi's wallet.
Okay.
So, and I don't own, like, none of these wallets are mine. Like, I don't own any of this stuff. So, but I'm not gonna do anything with this. It says my name on it, but I might have another account one day. No, I'm just kidding. But I'm hoping that like eventually I'll be able to send some of this. So you can't, like, I'm not able to send my Bitcoin from, like, I'm not able to give you any Bitcoin. I can't send anything yet. I hope that comes up. But I'm thinking Bob uses what he built here, basically to do other things. And I think that you're going to be able to do this on this ICP layer once you deposit into Odin.Fun. But what's your opinion of this so far? What are you thinking? And I mean, Monday could be really exciting for this.
So they need to get the deposit situation better.
Yeah.
I mean, but if that's corrected, then I can tell you how I feel, because then I can mess with it. I haven't been able to mess with it. You have, though. But I will say this. This is good. Some of the people that I would consider probably layer 1 maxis are starting to open their mind. I kind of wish that they would have given a bit more respect to, other builders in the Bitcoin ecosystem, like Nikib as well. At least try their products out. Nikib built a Odin swap and then a Pump.fun as well. And then you have BTC.fun as well, which some people definitely tried. And BTC.fun is different. Like you do the mint process on Merlin, and then it, if it mints out, that's the bonding curve, which, looking at this might be the perfect model of just keeping it Pump.fun. But then once it bonds, that's whenever the rune is actually etched off of a bonding kind of bidding versus minting. So maybe the dynamics on BTC.fun need to be changed up a little bit. I'm not sure. But anyways, the positive out of this, though, I will say, is that you have people that are typically like, I don't want to move my stuff off of Bitcoin and blah, 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 using this. And seems like they're, somewhat excited. I think there's a disconnect between East and West, which is kind of sad, because, like, there's East builders that have helped the Bitcoin layer 1 ecosystem. Jeff donated multiple Bitcoin for the Runes airdrop. Nikib hosts like conferences constantly. And I think if we're going to have a community, a Bitcoin community, some people need to really just like, open their minds in a bit, and say, hey. But the good thing is, like I said, they at least are using something that's not Bitcoin layer 1. But I did, when I used, deposited, I saw, canister needs to be rebooted or something like that. So Bob is an ICP expert, and he seems to be using ICP's tech stack, which is really cool. And I'm not sure if this is going to be like a custom kind of middle layer for ICP and Bitcoin, but so far people seem to like it. I don't know. What's the response that you've gotten from the space?
So I've got a few people saying that Bob's only let in the cabal so far, right? And I don't think that's true at all. If the that's one thing that's been bothering me. And the one thing I have seen, by the Dip and Hanno put out a tweet a bit ago, and he's like, this is bullshit. And I was like, you sound like you need a code. And he's like, no, I have one. But like, if you're complaining about missing out on a 3x for Odin Dog or a 5x for Bob's balls, then I mean, with the, you might as well never play in in the ecosystem, because that's just kind of how it is, right? You see Frank on Solana getting, you know, these 100x's every day because he's a part of, you know
That's
what I
a
mean? Like
whole nother level.
I know, that's what I'm saying, but like, I don't know, just because guys like Farmer Joe are, you know, in here and stuff like that, like, I don't know. But there's gonna be more opportunities, especially on Monday when stuff comes out of nowhere. And we have someone in here, our guy Memtrix, he says buy Bitmeme.
Bitmeme.
I will. I'll buy it right now.
Bitmeme.
All right, so he made it 11 hours ago, and it's really cool because look, you can just hit that and buying. So it's buying me
20,000 sats worth.
Yeah, 20,000 sats. So 0.0002.
But can you buy more or less than that, or
no? Well,
you
I
just
think
got to
if I
keep
went
doing it
in,
over and over,
no,
or what?
if I went in, that's just kind of a fast way of doing it.
Okay,
if I went in, I can buy whatever I
gotcha.
want. But if you're just super bullish on it and you don't want to miss it, you can sit here and do something like this, where you're just like, uh-oh, maybe you can't.
Or maybe you're out of Bitcoin.
No, I got plenty of Bitcoin. Maybe let's try this one. Yeah, so that was just that token was having an issue. But look, I just bought error buying slippage. So yeah, you can sit here and you can just buy as much as you want. So
Cool.
Which is pretty cool. So yeah, man. And it's what's that, about $20? 0.0002? About that, I think. Yeah. So
yeah, for the 20,000 sats.
Yeah. So, but yeah, man. So really enjoying this. But cool thing is too is the liquidity. This is something you brought to my attention, right? Have you looked into the liquidity thing? I haven't.
Yeah, I mean, I looked into it to see which tokens has the most liquidity, and you can see Bob Balls has $120,000 of liquidity. Odin Dog has 186,000 liquidity, and this is very interesting because this is something that could fix the liquidity issue with runes. Because if you look at the centralized swaps, like to get 186,000 before, it took like multiple weeks. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Or this is actually being created right off of demand. So that's pretty cool, right? I think that's pretty cool. Now I actually expect Bob to use that swap as like a swap for runes as well, because you can swap in and out on the side there. I don't know. It's interesting, but isn't that crazy? Like how people have been complaining about this kind of pain point for first of all the way back from 2023, whenever BRC20s was. But then like all of a sudden in like the span of a week, everybody comes out and says we're coming to save you guys. We're coming to do this and that and this, and then Bob releases this. I guarantee Bob's been working on this for a long time, and and for him, I'm okay with him releasing it at this time or whatever, because he obviously seems like someone that's really wants to make sure he gets it right, all that kind of stuff. But it's gonna be interesting to see. I mean, just to see these liquidity pools already at like 186,000 and 120. That's pretty massive, man. And I do expect like some stuff to come out Monday that's gonna probably rock the boat. Once the masses are able to come over here, because the environment is what some of those degens over in Solana and Base and stuff are used to. So this might be an onboarding event as well.
100%, dude. And the quickness of this is like just as fast as Solana, right? Like he basically built Arch. But you do have to deposit. It's Arch depositing, basically. So everything you're going to be able to do with Arch, you're probably going to be able to do with this, but you got to bridge in. What Arch is trying to do is they're trying to like do stuff without you bridging, right? Do everything on kind of L1. So, but I'm just happy to have something to play with over here, something to talk about too, something to get excited about. It's been a long time being in the Bitcoin ecosystem and not really having much to really kind of push forward. You do see it's supercharged by B Life. I'm guessing B Life is an investor in this, or Bob is a part of B Life or something like that.
So yeah, Bob's. I think that's a project or something that Bob has been building as well. He's definitely very closely associated with it. I think they had like some sort of passes to ordinal passes.
So if you go to liquidity though too, is there something really interesting that I like to see? Is the fees and the APR. So on Odin Dog, you're getting 229% APY. On Bob's Balls, which is a very hot token, Bob's Balls are on fire. It's a 507% APY. Odin Cat has 154%. So people that
What
are
is the
making these
AP?
trades.
What are they making?
So far on this liquidity pool, the fees have been $1,221. So every time you make a swap, you're paying a little fee. The fee goes to the liquidity provider.
Bitcoin?
Yeah.
Wow. Oh,
Yeah.
wow. Oh,
Yeah, man.
wow.
So if you do buy a
Oh.
token, it's probably a
Wow.
good idea to, and if you're going to hold it long term, to potentially put it in at it as liquidity.
Yo,
Right. So it's like,
that's crazy if that's
yeah.
what they're getting is
So
Bitcoin.
the total
'Cause-
swap is 3.8 Bitcoin for that one, 5 Bitcoin for Bob's Balls. Odin Cat. I love saying Bob's Balls, but that's just me.
oh.
So let's talk about the tickers for a second. So Odin Dog, and then it has an ID number, and then Odin. Do you think all of the Odin Fun tokens are going to have like ID numbers inside?
Well, that was brilliant because
Yeah.
the way that they do the bonding here is, or the way that they do the etching on layer one isn't until the token is bonded. So,
Yeah.
an example of a bad situation would be if, this token's going through bonding, it's having a little difficult time getting bonded at first, then it picks up momentum. Someone goes, rushes and etches on Luminex or, another platform, that exact ticker. Well, the X's in the middle kind of help, resolve that issue, because they're not limited, the Odin.fun's not limited to exactly what you want. Basically, you're only allowed to pick the first such and such letters and then the last 5 or whatever. So,
well, the last 4 are always Odin. So
okay, gotcha.
Yeah, when I launched my token, the max letters were 10 that I could use. I couldn't use more than 10. So, but yeah, so you're gonna see these on potentially on Magic Eden soon. On when you're able to bridge these off. You're not able to bridge off yet, but I'm sure that's gonna be something next week or the week after or something like that when Bob's ready. But I don't know, man. I'm really, really enjoying this. I hope it really does well. And I'm kind of sitting here now. And I'm kind of waiting for the next token to kind of come. And I might be adding some more Bitcoin here to kind of get ready for Monday. But I'm just going to sit, and when everyone's able to open the door, and then that's when you're going to get the creative ideas, the people who are really trying to push, the people who potentially built Billionaire Cat, right? They got some really good mindsets and stuff like that. So I'm waiting for something new. I'm not really looking at old runes right now. I want something new. I want something from Odin.fun.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean that's probably what people are going to be looking for as well. Try to get something new going, build a market cap up. That's a newer token, that kind of approach. But I will say that it has created, some excitement. That's for sure on the timeline. But I still have yet to receive my deposit, so I'm not able to party yet. Get into
there's
the fun.
There's nothing to do. Like once your funds are there, I doubt you're gonna buy anything. There's nothing
Really?
that's like moving or anything. Like it's to me, I wouldn't be worried about you're missing out right now. Honestly, there's nothing to miss out on right now. So,
Gotcha.
So this is from an article from Decrypt of all places. They said Odin.fun, a new launchpad trading platform for Bitcoin runes tokens, bringing Solana style trading to BTC. Can it supercharge the Bitcoin meme coin ecosystem? I mean, this is Decrypt now putting this out, so that they're definitely in our ecosystem for sure, paying attention, because they actually they're probably the one news outlet that covers runes in a whole for sure. So.
Well, I think that they're just, they probably have people in different ecosystems that just focus on those ecosystems, bring back to us what you got. And the person that covers the Bitcoin ecosystem probably has seen that there's been a lot of buzz about, different approaches to helping trading runes, whether that be Hyperliquid, this new Pump.fun that Bob has created, and, in the future, Near protocol, all these other, ways to do it. So now it's like the attention's coming back to the Bitcoin ecosystem, which has been a consistent narrative. But it's also been kind of a consistent like stomping ground once like a new narrative comes out, right? It's like, Bitcoin ecosystem, we're bullish. And then AI comes out. Oh God, like we're not bullish on Bitcoin right now, but it always comes back.
Yeah, man. Bob says, big news. You all crushed it in the last 24 hours, 1.5 million in volume, and we're just getting started. Can't wait for Monday public launch. That's a tweet from Bob. Yeah, man, I'm definitely excited. Definitely excited for this platform and looking for the meme. So guys, go launch something. Get your badges. or I don't know if they're called badges here, but get your achievements and stuff like that. So get them all.
Yeah.
All right, let's kind of move on to the next thing here. This is actually cool. So the world's largest stablecoin, Tether, is now minting its stablecoin on the Bitcoin Lightning Network. So now, it looks like Tether is getting bullish on Bitcoin, with Lightning being the only true L2. That is the place where they chose to do it at. So they could have done, Merlin or something like that, but we do know Merlin bridges into USDT and stuff like that. So, but they're natively using Bitcoin Lightning Network. Pretty crazy.
It is crazy. I like it because it makes a statement that they're bullish on Bitcoin kind of DeFi. And look, I mean, at the very least, this could be like some laser eyes that like say, okay, I want to get into stable, as I believe Bitcoin's going to have a substantial pullback, a 10% pullback or something, because the bull market's over. And they're going to utilize that. Now, do I think USDT is thinking about other parts of Bitcoin's ecosystem? Absolutely. Because we have developers in our ecosystem like RuneMine that's building on Arch Network, as well as he's already built on Lightning Network. He's already built on Rootstock. He's already built on RGB. Like this guy, like Victor and his team, like they are set up for success, because it, like, let's say these like different parts of the ecosystem start to merge and say, okay, we're gonna we found an off ramp, on ramp to this meta protocol, or this part of the Lightning or whatever. They're set up for it, so it's gonna be interesting. I'll say that.
Yeah, I mean, think about it. If Lightning is an L2, potentially bridging from Lightning to Runes or maybe something like that could be. I don't know how simple or how hard that's going to be, but that's definitely something that we could do now, because that's an easy place to bring the USDT. But another thing is like, with USDT being there, does that create a token standard on Lightning now?
Yeah,
So it's
I'm not sure, probably, right? But then does that bridge onto Bitcoin's main layer, or is it born on like another like RGB, or is it born on like Rootstock or something else, and then it's bridged onto Lightning or another meta protocol, and then it's bridged onto Lightning? But the one thing, so clarity here, I'm not a developer. I don't claim to be any, but like one thing I do know is that Lightning uses individual channels for different type of, I guess, like situations or like utility needs or whatever.
Yeah.
So I wonder how they're going to be able to make that not so clunky, and or not so much of a hurdle to be able to integrate with other meta protocols or things on eco parts of the Bitcoin ecosystem, right? But you got a lot of smart people working on just trying to unlock that liquidity on Bitcoin. So I do believe it happens to cycle. And so I feel like we're close, but this was definitely a surprise, though. Like USDT kind of coming back to where it was born, and to Bitcoin.
Yeah, I understand. I just don't understand how it's going to work, because obviously there's no swaps there, right? So you can't go from Bitcoin to Tether, right? Like, so unless you use like a centralized channel, and do the swapping inside there, I just don't understand. I really don't get it. Like, I get,
maybe we need to get somebody on that works with Lightning more. Maybe we could get Victor on from RuneMine and Runes Deck. Sorry,
Decks,
yeah, and he could probably break it down for us.
But then you're gonna, like, let's just say, like, it. I mean, it's just good for like El Salvador, because that El Salvador, you can take Bitcoin as payment. Like, they're kind of forcing people to do that, but now they're going to use the Lightning Network to use USDT. Maybe this is all for El Salvador right now. The reason why they're doing it. El Salvador saw a pain point. Tether has moved there. They've moved their headquarters there. They're building a giant tower there. Maybe they're like, yeah, we can just put USDT, so you guys are able to use Bitcoin Lightning Network the same way you're using Bitcoin. And maybe that's what they want, right? So potentially that way. So I just don't know. So,
yep.
You clicking enough there? What are you
sorry. You can hear that? Oh, I didn't know.
I can hear all your clicks and types. I don't know why. But moving on here is, we're gonna do our Friday edition of Fluid Friday. So let's kind of start that. I think we have some updates and stuff from our good friend Raul. So let me find
Yeah, there's only a
Alright.
couple of updates, but next week's going to be really big. So
So let's just kind of go into what Fluid is. Fluid is they started off building on Cardano and they have moved to Bitcoin. They're still continuing building on Cardano, but they have a sector of their business where they're kind of pushing the Bitcoin L1, and potentially they're building on Arch as well. So they're actually really kind of pushing our ecosystem forward in ways of being UTXO devs and doing their thing. They're actually going to build some really cool projects. They've already built a swap. They're building a borrowing and lending on layer 1. They've built that already, but now they're actually going to be potentially moving that over there to Arch and doing some stuff over there. They also have a staking mechanism. So I think most of our community have used Fluid so far for staking. So if you go to fluidtokens.com, this will bring you to their page, and obviously they have launched Cardano and launched Bitcoin. You want to hit the Bitcoin button, and that'll take you to their platform. It's app.fluidtokens.com/BTC. And they have their swap here. You can swap runes. This is exactly what Casey wanted someone to build, and they built it. Let's talk about that for a second. So Casey put out this thing, I want to say it was last week, and they're saying, hey, why hasn't someone built this yet? And then Raul was like, hey, like, we've built this, which is pretty cool. No one's really using it though, because of the fact that you have to wait for someone to come back on the other side and accept it. Like, let's just say, for instance, Yagobi put up a limit order. Let's just say, 1 Bitcoin and a bunch of dog. I can go in there and I could swap dog for his limit orders, and he has to come back and sign that. Right. So that's the only issue. That person gets an email, has to come back. So that's why the swap is slow. But something like Opcat or something in the future could come and fix that. But we're probably going to be moving this type of stuff to Arch Network and this becoming like an aggregator of some sorts, right?
yeah, I would imagine. Could you hear my clicking just now? I changed the setting. Just now I did it like 5 seconds ago. You couldn't hear it.
I was talking. I don't know.
Okay. So anyways, yeah, so aggregator possibly, but yeah, it's a weird situation because this was built 7 months ago, in case you didn't know about it. And now I made a post. I was like, you should probably learn the builders in your space. I get it. There's a lot of builders, a lot of people building stuff, but at the end of the day, it didn't meet the, like, in my opinion, it didn't meet like what the demand was, and that's because of Bitcoin's limitations, right? Like the signing and stuff like that. But them being able to do this on Arch is going to be big if they do decide to take it over there. And their lending is going over there, so it's not potential. They are building on Arch. That is the plan. But also, they've really found their niche, I believe, in this retail staking. Having the dog community kind of buy into the staking as well, and so that should be. Is it live today? Maybe next week it starts.
Yeah, there's nothing that's live right now.
So next week it'll probably start for the dog staking, but yeah. So I'm extremely bullish on these guys. They're two steps ahead of a lot of the developers over here already.
Yep. And their big staking vault last 2 weeks, you had a chance to stake your Fluid Pass. Passes were given out airdrops for free to anyone who used the swap back in August. They were airdropped, I want to say, in September, and they were trading. I picked up a lot of these really cheap here and there because I knew, and never, like, if you watch our show, you knew that they were going to be doing some staking stuff with the pass and stuff like that. Was the whole point of it. Raul mentioned that back in August. So this unlocks on April 25th. April 20th, 2025, and there's 450 passes staked. So now I'm pretty sure that I can see my estimated. Not yet.
Not yet. It's going to be coming though. Okay. That was one of the updates. They're going to show in the dashboard how much FLDT token you'll get based on the passes that you staked. So that's coming. So that's going to be interesting or that's going to be exciting because you're going to know exactly how much of their rune token you're going to get. Excuse me.
Yeah, man.
Yep.
And I have 20. Go ahead. 20. I have 20 ordinal stakes, so I'll let you guys know how much I'm getting for my estimate, so you guys can know for the future as well. So.
Yep. Also, next week they're going to have a big partner to announce with staking. That's going to open a staking vault with them. So stay tuned for that. So you can get in if you want, but if you have your notifications on, make sure you follow them because you can be one of the first to get in. It doesn't really matter like if you get in first or later, but you just don't want to miss that window of when it opens and closes. So
yeah, man.
Those are the only updates for Fluid so far.
Sounds good. Yeah, we're gonna have Raul on again once things get going. He's working on this really amazing thing right now for Cardano, but you're gonna be able to use your Bitcoin wallet and you're gonna be able to trade on Cardano. They're building, I think it's called Aquarius or Aquarium, something like that, right? They're building something really cool for that as well. So look out for that. They have some really big updates. The rumor has it, I don't know if it's true or not, but there's gonna be a big announcement at Bitcoin 2025 in Las Vegas. So look out for that as well. So,
Yep.
and that will that's everything we have for Fluid, guys. So let us know in the chat if you guys staked. I want to know how many of you guys have staked over there. So let me grab the. All right, let's kind of get back to the banners here. Let's do a market update. So let's jump into
Yes, an actual green market update for
Finally, dude.
runes.
All right, so I'm gonna go to the daily here. Go put the badge light on and then go by volume. So Dog is sitting at 4.26, dude. Dog with a resurgence, kind of pulling the whole market up with it. 15%, pretty big for Dog.
It is big for Dog, and it's needed, right? For Dog to make that first strong move. You know, there was a couple other kind of pump ups for the runes ecosystem that like $1 Billion Cat would start it off, or Pups might start it off, and then Dog would always catch up. But I like that Dog's going to be that first big mover. It went up $100 million in market cap. And I really would like and expect it to continue that push up to cross $1 billion and then bring everything else up with it. Like the Dog Army, love Leonidas or hate him, the guy grinds day in and day out for the Dog Army, and so does the dog community, right? So I feel like they deserve a dub for this because they've been, holding on to their conviction. You're talking about over 100,000 holders. I think it's going to get to a point where, like, if Hyperliquid brings on liquidity, then you have like a swap with Odin.Fun, and then you have like other areas that's to where like Leonidas will stop asking Binance to list it and stuff. And then now at this point, like, Binance probably have to do the post of shame saying, we're listing Dog, and it's like, after everything is super hype.
Well, I mean, that would be kind of like lighter fluid at that point, right? If say Hyperliquid does list it, you are able to let's just say bridge Dog into Odin.Fun and liquidity pool there, liquidity pool on Hyperliquid, and then boom, Binance list it. I mean, that could send runes to the next level, right? That could send runes flying. So, and then what that's going to do, it's going to have new runes going. So Odin.Fun is going to be fun. It could really get really bullish over here really quickly in February. February could be a really bullish month for these tokens, and you're already seeing this. I want to see this continue over the weekend. The weekend's going to be a real test for this, in my opinion, especially for Dog.
Yeah, I agree. I expect the big three, the three amigos there, Dog, Pups, and BDC, to really kind of lead the initiative again. Gizmo probably jump on the back of that. Rune Coin's going to be an interesting one to pay attention to, because there's been a lot of like, I guess, talk of, obviously people saying that the devs were scammers and this and that and this and that, and like the market cap really had a hard time kind of getting going. But it seems like after the the dev was called out, and all this stuff, like, and they showed their dev wallets and all this stuff, it seems like the market cap has kind of not been bleeding out as much, and now it's kind of, it's keeping up with $1 Billion Cat for the first time. And so that's going to be an interesting one to keep your eye on. I'm not saying get into it because it's had a horrible history in terms of price action and stuff like that. But I would not be shocked if it does like a 180 this run up if everything runs.
Yeah, so 100%. The only thing that scares me with RuneCoin is the R6, because they're still mining, and then potentially there's RuneCoin 2 or whatever it's called. There's a rune. I think it's like rune like 13 or 14. I can't remember the number. But that's the only thing that scares me with the RuneCoin, is that people are still mining potential sister token of this. I don't know. But you can say the same thing about RuneCoin, about Runestone too, right? With Dog, because technically same thing. You might get some dilution with another token from that as well. But do you think that's bearish? People mining this second R6 token with the R6?
Well, I think you could say the same thing for, the second Runestone token, right? When is that going to come? Because they're going to get an airdrop for that. And then if it does come, how much liquidity does it take away from Dog? And I don't think they're going to plan anything until the first tokens are established. And I hope that RuneCoin devs do the same thing with the RSIC thing. They don't plan another coin until our RuneCoin is established somewhat, at least.
Yeah. Sundown Pyro says, profit while you can. These memes are trash. Tap is the only one. Everything else is show. I don't know if you've seen the Tap tokens, dude. Like, I don't. How does Tap people say that? That is hilarious. Yeah. Go. I mean, if you want to trade Tap for Bitcoin and then trade back to Tap, go do it, man. Go do your thing on Taproot Swap. But you can't just. It seems like you're kind of angry about this pump.
So. Well, I mean, like, I think one thing you got to kind of respect is that the track cult mentality exists, because it's definitely like, look, I'm not saying that like Tap won't be anything big or anything like that. That's not what I'm saying. But like, you guys are definitely diehards for them. So, you know, for them, the you know, track and Tap team, kudos to them, because they've definitely created that cult mentality. They get very angry, and some of it I get. You know, it's because of they feel like the politics, and there definitely exists. Politics definitely exists. You see it from the west and the east of the Bitcoin ecosystem. That exists, and it's clear as day. But then you got, like, you know, Tap, which is kind of in the middle, you know, because they're from Europe, but they are kind of more towards the west, and they don't necessarily have like the best cohesive relationships with the east, but they don't have like the best cohesive relationships with the builders in the west as well, like kind of like the inner circle of, you know, the runes builders and stuff. So it's I can see why they're frustrated, but at the same time, you have to remember that, like, when liquidity is fragmented like it is, it's really hard to get the mind share of the space. That's not a humongous space to start with, right? And so whoever's best at capturing mind share of the community wins for that period of time, and that happens to be the runes kind of ecosystem for the Bitcoin ecosystem for the majority. I'm not saying all of it, but for the majority. One thing I will say though is that, you know, the block runners have done an amazing job with, you know, DMT, and I think that has really helped. But we'll see too if the Tap team, the Tap leadership says, hey, let's try to bring in more utility stuff to help some of these other meta protocol community members to be able to, maybe they, like we talked about, maybe they bring and wrap the token and they add more liquidity to their swap and wrap runes or BRC20. I don't know. They're just going to have to go to the drawing board and really figure out how to drive that demand, because as of right now, that is the problem with Tap. The demand is not there. And I know you guys might get mad about that, but look, I'm a digital marketer. I've been a digital marketer for 10 plus years. Demand drives liquidity. And that is what is going to change things. You got to change the demand. You got to change whatever, if that means bring more tooling, bring something that's going to draw them in. You got to do it. So I'm rooting for the Tap ecosystem and stuff to make it. And I think there's going to be enough liquidity down the road for multiple different areas of our ecosystem to make it. But right now, it's just kind of dry, and that's the problem.
Yeah, I really hope they don't try to wrap dog or wrap pups and bring them over to that. I think that would be a complete mistake. Having them, you know, you're going backwards. Like, Runes was already kind of a better protocol than BRC20, and then you're going to kind of go backwards and take it to an inscription-based model again, where if I want to send you dog, I have to make a transfer inscription and stuff like that. If they're going to put dog on their Taproot swap and stuff like that, figure it out. Like, if you're able to do it with the Tap tokens, you should be able to do it with the Rune tokens, and you should be able to do it with the BRC20s as well without wrapping. I think that would be that would change the game, in my opinion, for Tap.
But would they be able to swap between Tap and Runes? I don't think you're going to be able to do that, because you got to keep up with balances and all that stuff. That's going to be the hardest part. If you wrap it in, then it's not hard, because then it becomes you're tracking the same token standard no matter what.
Just allow for BTC then. Yeah, I mean, that's what I'm kind of thinking anyway. You know, just have BTC dog pools. You don't need a BTC. You don't need a dog Tap pool, right? But you could use a you know, I do. So I get what you're saying though, because because you wouldn't do USDT, you would do Bitcoin, and they have Bitcoin pools there without, you know, you're not wrapping Bitcoin.
But I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about the like, if you were to like trade like dog for Tap token or something like that, you know,
you would have to go into Bitcoin and then Bitcoin into Tap, just like how you do with something with low liquidity. You know what I mean? Like, let's say on the other chain, you wouldn't go from Yup into you know, something that you want to go into another meme, you would go into up in the
but
Ethereum.
you can though. But you can.
Yeah, but you lose big because there's not a lot of liquidity.
Yeah, I see
You know
what
what
you're
I mean?
saying. I see what you're saying. You probably wouldn't do that anyways because of the you know, the difference in what you would lose in terms of value and liquidity pools and all that stuff. I see what you're saying.
Yeah, so I mean, if you just add dog and you just allow it to just trade Bitcoin, I mean, that's all people really want to do anyway, right? If you want, you know, so in that sense, so I Taproot Swap, dude, absolutely amazing technology, absolutely amazing what they're able to do using the Tap token. You can go from Tap to Bitcoin, you can go from Bitcoin to Gib. You know what I mean? Absolutely amazing tech. I just wish they would just kind of get away from the Tap standard. I just don't think people want to use it.
Well, so this is the last thing I'll say is that, like, I think another reason that the tap track and tap community get a little frustrated is because, like, they've had Taproot Swap, right, and then they bring it up in like spaces. You saw Fitzy go into the space with Leonidas and stuff and bring up, hey, we've already solved this issue, and then like not much movement happens after that, right? And then out of nowhere, like Bob drops like Odin.Fun, and then all those same people that were just told about Taproot Swap are like bullish on like Odin.Fun. So that's where the politics come in. And at the end of the day, like, you know,
well, no, it's not politics. It's just the Tap standard sucks. The runes is just a better standard.
So, but I 100% think that there's some politics in it. But I agree, they're not going to go to like the Tap standard from runes, because you're basically asking them, hey, just drop all your bags and come over here. I mean, I think that's not an intelligent approach at all. Like, you know what I mean? It's like, it's basically telling them, hey, you know, just drop your bags. Like, just come over and party over here. Take your losses and party over and Tap. You're not going to win anybody over doing that.
No,
you know what I mean? Zero people. So yeah, definitely a different approach is going to be needed.
Yeah, 100%. And like I just think, you know, the Tap standard was what, you know, it's just not a good standard. Like the transfer inscription stuff, like you're going backwards. Like runes was a step above BRC20s because there's no transfer inscription. And you know, I will die on that hill. I hate transfer inscriptions. Like this is the worst thing in the world. And runes fixes that, and that's the one reason why, you know, I'm more bullish on runes than any other standard. But I just think that Benny and them built something amazing with Taproot Swap. I just hate to see it go to waste.
Yeah.
But let's jump into the collections, because dude, this morning and it's still I'm thinking, man, like, all right, so what happened the last couple times that runes went nuts, right? When absolutely exploded. What happened after
that? What happens after the ordinals would follow suit, or like after tokens go for a while, but the runes haven't gone for long enough though. But that's but that's not when you want to buy anyways. No. Yeah, you want to buy now.
Exactly my point, right? So we haven't seen a puppet this low in a very, very long time. I mean, let's go to the crypto version. I mean, 0063 for a puppet, 064 for a node monkey. The quantum caps are still pretty high, being a quarter ETH, but even Ordinal Maxibiz, that, you know, we do know that the white eyes have been inscribed, and you know, rumor has it is that if you own Ordinal Maxibiz, you'll have a claim to one of these white eyes because it's the exact number to the exact number. So I don't know how true that is, but that's something that I've been hearing. But that would be a nice give back for the holders, a nice little stimmy as well. So I mean, potentially buying an Ordinal Maxibiz now could get you a free white eyes. I mean, I don't know, you know, I don't know if that's worth the risk, because you might not, but I don't know, man. What do you think?
Yeah, I'm bullish on all the blue chips there, man. And you know, OMB was one that we had been talking about like in the early days of like the kind of like the crypto punk style, because it's like the art. Some people were like, I don't get it, it's ugly, it's not, but it's more of, it's edgy, it's like cultish, it's OMB, right? So I think they end up doing extremely well during the NFT ordinal you know, bull market time period, whenever that's going to be. So I don't think you can go wrong with that.
Yeah, man. And like, you know, you got to remember too, like you're going to be seeing these chains potentially having ordinals running on them too, using Emblem Vault and using that jump feature. So that's what I'm looking forward to. Think about this. Think about if let's just say 1,000 puppets get bridged out, right, over the course of this year. That's 1,000 less sitting here on Magic Eden. And now that creates arbitrage opportunities. Let's just say, like, you know, a puppet just sold on abstract for 0083. You're gonna be like, oh, I'm gonna go bridge one over now and list it for that same price. So potentially I can
0083. That would be so cheap.
No, I'm just saying like 0.83. So if it's 0.063 here, 0.63 here, and it gets over there for 0.83, you know what I mean? It could give you an opportunity to just get a puppet, bridge it over, and then let's sit there because someone's lazy and don't feel like buying on Bitcoin, but they want the asset. Right. So, I mean, there's going to be arbitrage opportunities all over the place on base, on Arbitrum, on abstract and stuff like that. And it could really bring the value up with these ordinals for sure.
Yeah, I agree. But I think that it's going to be a, prove it, don't talk about it kind of moment for some of these people. Like, for example, we're seeing a little bit of that with Odin.Fun, the people that are willing to go into it, because Bob has a good reputation, right, in the inner circle there. And so they seem like they like it. But I think like once Emblem starts taking, jumping these ordinals to different places, by the way, that are asking them to do it, and they're known, really good known marketers, really good known, business minded, like people like Luca Nets and stuff like that, right? Like, and then it's gonna be like showcasing like the value. I've said this so much the past 3 days, but like the high end stuff in your store, and I think it's gonna do extremely well. But some people are gonna be like, I don't want to move my puppet off of Bitcoin layer 1 because I want to leave it because of security. That's fine. People are going to do that too. But once people start seeing the opportunities, it's going to one by one, you'll see like parts of the community start doing it. And then people won't even know like where they're getting it eventually. Obviously, Abstract's going to probably do a big marketing push, I imagine, for it. But it's going to be exciting times.
Yeah, man. And guys, every Friday now at 12:30, we're going to be doing an Emblem Hour. And today we're lucky enough to have Jake Gallen from Emblem Vault. Jake, welcome back to Ordinal Revolution.
Hey.
Yo, it's been a few weeks. You guys had Chris on last week and Adam beforehand. What'd you guys think of Chris? I think that was actually his first ever public podcast solo.
Really? He did great.
Yeah, he's our degen trader for sure. He's more of our Shizzy, I would say.
Yeah, he definitely has like a way with words too, and like to kind of change the mood up, because like we were down a bit about the markets, and then at the end of the show we were like pumped. We were just like, oh, this thing's about to turn around. Chris, every time we need like a morale boost, we're gonna hit you up. But yeah, so pretty cool.
Yeah, he's good, man, dude. I mean, what a week in the Bitcoin space, right? Everything was dead, and the community was just cannibalizing itself over runes on Solana as a meme coin, and then all of a sudden we're so back with a Pump.fun and a slingshot on-ramp pipeline happening in the matter of a week, man. Dude, this space is not for the weak-minded.
Let's kind of take it back a little bit, if you don't mind. I'd love to get your opinion on this. So obviously, I think it was last Saturday. It feels like 2 months ago at this point, but you had Rune Toshi. I thought that he was a part of RuneCoin, but people are in the RuneCoin community telling me, no, he's not really a part of it. He was just a community member. But he launched a token on Solana of the same name, RuneCoin, and it pumped so high. And then he eliminated himself from Twitter, because that's the rumor, as well as people saying that he had this plan to where he was going to get himself suspended, and he did. He got suspended, and then the coin plummeted to, I don't know where it's at now, but it dropped 90%, I believe.
Yeah, I actually took an L on that one, to be honest. I thought it was fun. Some people are saying that Runtoshi was like a serial scammer. I never had that thought. He seemed pretty authentic from the private conversations we had. But people change once there's money kind of on the line here. I thought it was I thought it was important to move the conversation forward in terms of showcasing people's frustrations with what was happening with runes. You saw it literally a few days later. Magic Eden came out with the 1K or 1K USD limit on sells.
Yeah.
You had the Leonidas and Tio kind of against Udi conversation, and then you also had Owl kind of bringing up different opinions. And within a week, people other projects have come out to try to support runes, right? Slingshot said they're building that, which is great because that's like a moonshot. You had the guy from Hyperliquid said that they're looking into adding rune support. So, everyone's kind of moans and tears and frustrations was definitely heard loud and clear. And you now have 3 or 4 different teams who are coming in to support runes, or at least try to take a crack at it. Because as we know, it's impossible to do this on the layer 1. There has to be some sort of off-chain component, whether it's off chain of Bitcoin and using another blockchain, right? Like Hyperliquid is just an Arbitrum app chain, right? A lot of people
Yeah.
don't really know that. So even Bob is using ICP, I think, from the back end. So, I think it's pushing it forward for people trying to accept that these frustrations are only going to accelerate the different cross-chain applications for runes and probably for ordinals, to be honest.
Yeah. Yeah, and you're absolutely right. And I love it. It gives me relief because I'm hearing less and less about okay, like, oh, but we're gonna have to bridge and we're gonna have to do this and this because like you're right. Like even me, that's pretty, I would say tame in terms of like, expressing exactly how I felt. Like I capitulated on Saturday night. Sometimes I'll throw a little like FUD at Casey or something like that. That's what happened. I'm not gonna lie. But it wasn't it was just more of like what is happening, but I think all of that was like a big snowball that was kind of like, okay, accept this. And now the space is starting to. And the I think still the approach should be focused on security and try to get as much like trust assumptions eliminated as possible, but realizing that there's going to be a point where you can't eliminate anymore with the way Bitcoin is currently in its current state. And so I don't know. Do you think that's a fair take?
Yeah, it's interesting being in the Bitcoin community. And actually, I have to say, taking the L on the runes on Solana just made me appreciate trading Bitcoin assets more, to be honest. The Solana ecosystem is just so much faster. And if you're not glued to the screen, 23/7, then you're definitely going to take some L's. And I've noticed this cycle, the rotations are happening much faster than previous cycles. On Bitcoin, it's much harder to do that, right? Because you could kind of see what's in the mempool. So for me personally, it's just grown more appreciation to what we're doing here. Obviously, it moves a lot slower. And so I think a lot of people are starting to realize that's part of it. And the social layer of Bitcoin in the community has these ebbs and flows, because how many times have we now had this runes are dead conversation, right? It's been like maybe 3 different times, and each time something new is kind of spawned out of it. And so the bottom is definitely the kind of social consensus. Whereas when you look at like the smart contract platforms like Solana and Ethereum, the bottom is generally usually from like some sort of like technical limitation, or it's like something more technical than just the community being frustrated. Although everyone's upset that the price is down. That's, the AI space is down horrifically. The meme coin space is down horrendously, and runes and ordinals are down pretty bad as well. But
Amen.
I'm very excited for where the rune space is going. As Emblem we're migrating our Ethereum token to Bitcoin as a runes. I think we're still the only one to do this, to take that risk. So our skin's in the game literally as deep as you could go. And I've always had faith. And from the Emblem side, we actually kind of expected this to happen. This is why we had the founder vaults where the runes are locked until September, because we knew that there was going to be some growing pains. And it's glad to see the community moving forward and starting to look outside of the box and kind of accept that, hey, if you use the strengths of these different protocols, you're going to kind of build a really cool product. And I think that's exactly what Bob has. I haven't tested it yet, but it seems to be Bob was touching a lot of these different areas that the runes community requires.
Yeah, 100%. It's actually really cool. I actually want to get your opinion on it. Do you think something like this can be successful? It does seem to that like last weekend, RunesCoin, we can kind of call that the RunesCoin bottom, for instance. I mean, that's what I'm thinking. Like that was the bottom of the bottom for this next leg up, and we've seen it this week. But do you think something like this could be successful or kind of push runes forward, bringing new coins on to the thing? Because you do see, it says like the ticker, and it's going to have an ID number, and then it's going to say Odin. Do you think something like this, when they do bridge to Bitcoin Layer 1, if they bridge to Bitcoin Layer 1, can be successful?
I was actually watching your guys' stream in the tutorial right before this because I couldn't find any codes anywhere, and I just got too lazy to try. So appreciate you for being kind of the first ones to live stream and kind of showcase it. I do think it could be successful.
Yeah.
There's been a few ICP projects that have tried to, build this kind of deposit thing. The issue with the deposit is you need community buy-in for it to participate. And then eventually people will follow the liquidity. We've learned this from the Emblem side, that if there's liquidity on the other side of something, people will jump through 10 deposits if they need to. But it's getting that initial kind of cohort in there. So maybe this kind of like invite system is the right way to where you have the cabals or all the kind of influencers participating, and it builds this kind of like hype and anticipation. So then you just get a lot of Bitcoin locked up there. I think Bitcoin has more staying power in terms of deposits because there is that mempool limitation where you have 5,000 transactions or so per block. So the more Bitcoin that comes in, the longer it takes to onboard. I think we learned that with Merlin, where when everyone staked their assets, there's still a ton of assets in there because it just takes forever to move all of these off. So the pool can grow quite large once you get this tied up. From the outside of just like that technical component, the Runes community needs something. Does it need this Pump.fun launchpad? Maybe, I guess. I think one of the issues that people were saying is that when you were etching a rune during that minting process, users wanted those fees that were earned to channel back to the community in some way and less towards the miners, right? In the beginning, it was all, yes, we're getting the miners paid and such. But after a while, you realize that once that liquidity leaves and goes to the miners, they're not putting it back into the system. And this is what kind of makes like that flywheel effect on Solana and Pump.fun. So if you could keep it back here, it can be successful, especially if you have this kind of limitation of removing deposits or withdrawals. Because as we've seen, I think Yagobi said that you're having deposit issues, and I've seen that with like a bunch of people into the platform, right? So you could kind of see that stuff. I hope so. There's another question of like, once these things graduate, how does it trade? Do they have to? Is Bob building like another kind of interface to where you graduate this into like whatever his own swap tool is?
You don't have to, because there's actually a swap where you can add liquidity. So you can come here now. This is a token that's already kind of graduated. If you go to liquidity, you can see that these 4 have liquidity in the swap, and people are actually earning 245% APR for this one, 514 APR, and you can actually see the fees that they've actually earned as well. $1,200 in fees there, $1,600 in fees there. So yeah, so Bob actually has a swap built into this that you can actually provide liquidity.
And they're earning Bitcoin too.
Yeah,
that's smart. And you can, I believe he said you can remove these or move these out and trade them basically on Magic Eden, correct?
Yeah. Well, not
Although,
yet.
What's the likelihood though of that happening, right? If you kind of have the self-contained system, I think it's very unlikely.
Yeah.
I want to bridge them in. I want to take dog and bring it in, right? And add it to that liquidity.
Well, if there's a swap that you can do liquidity there, like, let's be honest, like there's the highest one right now is $185,000 of liquidity, and you're talking about within a span of a day. That, if you look at centralized exchanges, that's hard to do with even the popular ones. So, people, I think you have some dog whales, you have some BDC whales, you have some pups whales that will probably add liquidity to these pools, maybe in this swap, because that could be like an area, to where if they can earn fees in Bitcoin, then why wouldn't they do it, right? But I want to circle back real quick to something that you said about like the miner fees, going back into the project, and it's a shame because like BTC.fun launched and did that with Merlin. Actually, it was the whole concept of that was to get like a cool token, meme, whatever, minted out, and then those mint fees would roll into the bonding part of that token, and then that's the liquidity you start trading with. Now, where I think that sounded like such a great idea, at first, I think a little bit of that, the reason why there wasn't a ton of volume on there is because you don't have that same excitement as like a bidding war of like, up and down. And then people also trade a ton pre-bond.
Yep.
I don't think people realize that's a strategy, dude. Like, people make money doing that. Like, they trade pre-bond constantly, make it look like it's going up about to bond. And then people that got in early will dump, and then they'll pump it up a little bit to get people back in, and they'll dump again. Right. So I think having that, not having that with BTC.fun is probably part of it. And also, a little disconnect between East and West as well. But, East did participate in that and stuff. But we'll see if this can have that staying energy with Odin.fun, because the first couple of days are always fun, right?
Yeah, the built-in swap, I'm actually thinking about it now. I would say is a little bearish, to be honest. If the fact is that if people are trading natively within the application, and there's no incentive to withdraw these and, you know, remove it and have it participate in the other ecosystems, and eventually just becomes this kind of closed loop where essentially then it's just the same thing as what Merlin swap is, right? Where it's just or I've maybe it's Unicross or one of these to where it etches the rune underneath and then holds it in an escrow contract and then you trade on the swaps. Like essentially then it's the same thing. And there's just no intention to ever leave the ecosystem, which is fine. I mean, in this case though, in Bob's case, he has a lot more things going for him. He's leveraging chain abstraction, which is pretty good, right? Just the idea of, hey, you can use your Xverse wallet. You don't have to use a new wallet, which is key. The fact that it's kind of just one click where it's just, hey, deposit this, and then you have to wait. And obviously Bob's expertise and just personality in general carries a lot of weight in the space. So I think if anyone is going to solve this, then it's probably going to be him. If not, then you have like the Funky Bit guys on Arch. And so then instead of the Funky Bit guys having, you know, this prestigious reputation like Bob does, they're basically backed by the ecosystem itself. And once people are using Arch, then you would hope that people are just, you know, keeping that liquidity kind of sloshed around all the DeFi protocols that are using it. It's going to be interesting. I'm sure there's something on the back end to why Bob chose the swaps. I mean, generally probably just wants to make the fees so that he can build other things. But if there's no enforcement to, hey, you're graduated, you're out of this protocol, now go trade on Magic Eden, or, you know, go trade it on Arch or whatever, then I don't see the lifespan of these tokens lasting quite long, because it's just you're only going to be able to build a community within this Odin.Fun kind of swap tool. And I think that kind of degrades the longevity of this. So these mostly just become kind of short pump and dumps, and it's going to have a hard time graduating to kind of what Pump.fun is right now, where you have these like legitimate projects launching on Pump.fun who have a long-term vision, but you still get the short-term community and amplification effects, you know, of these people who are kind of short-term traders. That's, for example, we're going through this process right now with Tensorium, that it's a legitimate project we launched for free. We use it as an experiment on Pump.fun, but we always had the long-term vision of, hey, if this takes off, then we'll fully back it and continue with it. The trenches decided that Tensorium was a long-term project that they wanted to value, and they ascended to $20 million market cap within a few weeks, and now it's down 95% to 2 million, but we're still a long-term builder who's here, and it's left the Pump.fun ecosystem. Right now, now it's listed on Slingshot, and you trade it in other places outside of Pump.fun. If there's no incentive from Odin Swat or Odin Fun tickers to ever leave Odin Fun, then I think it loses that long-term amplification effects.
Yeah, I agree. But do you think like maybe adding like dApps to this could help that though? Like adding like borrowing and lending, adding, like all kinds of crazy DeFi protocols to this, but allows you to withdraw or deposit dog into these things, right? So I mean, I don't know. It's obviously the same thing. It's just like Merlin. It's just like Fractal. It's another competitor to them, and it's not native. It's not natively doing anything for the Bitcoin ecosystem that I want. But there's no 10-minute blocks, dude. I had a 40-minute block last night. Like, you know what I mean? So
dude, it's painful when you send something through and there's a block hasn't been mined for 40 minutes. You're like, oh my God. All of these teams, Emblem, I guess you could say, is kind of in this bucket as well, of just taking Bitcoin native assets and trying to, build a self-sustaining ecosystem. They're coming about it in just a different way, right? They're kind of starting from the ground floor of the token creation kind of process. Whereas, Merlin was more as, hey, import your assets that are already mature. And now, we'll build kind of this liquidity environment, where Emblem is like kind of in the same thing. Your mature assets, take your mature NFT assets to these other ecosystems, for more programmability. So here they're coming about it a different way. You know, literally from the ground up. Bob's a smart guy, so I know he's probably has some plans in store. I don't know what the Be Life thing is. I was trying to figure out if that's just. It looks like it's something backed by Animoca that has some sort of like DAO to where they're paying people or giving them grants. So he definitely seems like there's definitely some sort of like kind of crypto institutional backing there of some sort.
Cohort or something.
Cohort of something like that. But yeah, you're probably going to have to build some applications on this. But to me, if there's no incentive to remove it and they just trade it there, and you don't get the attention of the trading on Magic Eden, I think it's just going to be hard for these projects to be long-term projects and nothing more than just a meme coin.
So what exactly do you mean by that? Like, not the incentive to remove it from like this environment that Bob created? Because like if you have like a Pump.fun meme coin that goes off, right? You've made money on that meme coin. You get out of it and get into Solana. Is that what you're talking about? Getting out into like another asset? Because you can get out into Bitcoin, can't you, with Odin?
So let's say, you know, Bob's balls or whatever it is. Let's say it's a long-term project, right?
I love talking about Bob's balls.
Bob's balls are going long-term. You know, with the team behind it who has like, you know, who has a long-term vision, they're going to turn it from a meme coin into a utility token, right? It's a DeSci project of some sort on Bitcoin. Okay. And now once it's graduated and ascended, you now have 2,000 holders, right, who participated in the pre-bonding. Now you're going to tell me 2,000 people are going to remove a rune from this ecosystem to go trade on Magic Eden? That's just not going to happen at all. I find that very unlikely to happen. So then they're just going to continue to trade on Odin Swap, and then, you know, if that's the case, then this project is more of just like a, you know, it's become more of like an ICP kind of enclosed ecosystem project.
Yeah. So what if Magic Eden like brought in the tech stack that like you know, Bob did and integrated into their platform?
That's possible.
You know,
yeah, I mean, if you could do Odin Swap trading on Magic Eden, but now you're taking away the fees from Bob's team, right? Because maybe that's something Bob will sacrifice the swap fees to Magic Eden, and then he just makes the fees on the kind of pre-bonding area. But you're literally cutting his revenue down by probably more than 50% at that point.
And now we're no longer Bitcoin meme coins. We're ICP meme coins, right?
Yeah, right. And then again, it's the same. Then again, it's the same thing as Merlin, right? It's just, hey, we're etching the token on mainnet, and then you're just trading the tokens in this environment, which, you know, it's a very tough challenge. It's probably a multi-billion-dollar opportunity if you can really figure it out. And that's why a lot of people are really going after this. But if it was my technical decision, I would have forced. I probably wouldn't have built in the swap. I probably would have forced the tokens to leave the ecosystem somehow. Again, there's probably some technical challenges there, but hey,
you're gonna lose the interest, though. I think the attention, if you can't trade right there, because it's all about being able to get more Bitcoin at the end of the day for them, the people that are trading in this. That's where I think the problem will lie.
Yeah, it's a very tough engineering challenge, and then you have the social challenge after it. So he's figured out the engineering aspect to it. Now it just becomes more of the social incentives on, you know, do these projects, are you going to attract any projects who are here for the long term? Will you build anything longer than a meme coin? Or maybe you just say, hey, it's on the project to figure out, you know, you can use this to launch. You can use our community of thousands of people or tens of thousands of people who will be trading these. But then it's up to you to figure out how to incentivize your community to remove these assets from ICP if you plan to do something long term, you know, or maybe ICP just builds out a whole ecosystem to where people don't really care. You know, it's why we play the market, right? It's why we play the game here. But just thinking about it long term, you know, for most people, they probably just want to trade shit coins. It doesn't really matter if they're making money. But for the long term builders, I think there's a little bit of a tough road ahead.
Yeah, I agree. But let's move along to what you guys are building with Emblem Vault. So this past week we saw the launch of Abstract, and I'm excited for Abstract for a couple different reasons. But the main reason is because you guys are going to be jumping potentially ordinals, puppets, node monkeys, and the real big stuff. Potentially locking them in a vault in an Emblem Vault and jumping them to any chain you want. And Abstract could be one of those chains. Really excited for that. I was wondering if there's any updates on if that's going to happen anytime soon.
Yeah, actually, yesterday we started our audit with Chainlight. It's one of Abstract's required audit firms. So if you go to Abstract, you'll see they have something that's called a portal. There's 68 projects there. They have hundreds, if not thousands, of teams that are vetted. So we basically have an agreement with them to be listed in the portal, but to do that, we have to go through one of their requested audits, even though we just did one with Hellborn. So take a little bit of a pay cut there for, the attention and kind of partnership there. So that's supposed to be about 2 weeks. Audit sometimes could go a little bit shorter, a little bit longer. In the meantime, our development team, kind of how our development team is split, is we have 4 developers. We have 2 that are working kind of full-time on the NFT vaulting side, and then we have 2 that are working on the AI side, and Shannon kind of works in between both of them. And so we describe this. We have 5 different L2s that we're going to deploy to in the initial cohort. So Abstract, Base, Merlin, Arbitrum, and ApeChain. Those are going to be the first 5 that we do. And we have what we're calling 5 priority collections. So these are the collections that are going to be initially deployed to every chain. And it's just our popular collections: Rare Pepe, Fake Rare, Spells of Genesis, Embells, because that's our art collection. And then we have Emblem Open, which is just our open-ended vault collection where you can kind of vault any asset over there. And then after that, we're creating a list of what are our other priority collections that we want to deploy to every chain. So there's a few in Ordinals, right? Puppets, I think there's like 6 of them. It's like Quantum Cats, Puppets, Node Monkeys, Frogs, Pizza Ninjas, and there's like one other one, I think. And then we actually have to deploy our Ethereum collection still. So things like CryptoPunks and Pudgy Penguins and all of Azuki, kind of all the kind of top ones there. And then after that's launched, we still have to finish the jump tool to where these can be kind of interoperable. So kind of how it's initially going to start is we're going to have our bulk minting tools going to go live alongside it as well. So you'll be able to mint up to 25 Bitcoin Puppet vaults at a time if you wanted to. So if you want to take 25 Bitcoin Puppets, vault it to Abstract, you can do this all in one transaction, all in one kind of fell swoop. We've got it down to, I put a teaser video out like earlier this week. I got it down to about 3-click process. It's actually quite efficient. Bunzy's done a really good job building the front end. He's a really good builder. So he does all of our Emblem Vision stuff. And from there, it's on us to develop the partnerships. There's going to be some XP rewards for those who are in the portal. So if you vault to Abstract, from my understanding, those people will earn some XP, which is the Abstract token. And then from our side, when we start our vaulting program in March, you'll also earn points that will go towards keys. So you can get this kind of dual-sided yield generation, I suppose. And for us, we still have to go through Abstract and find out, who are the top lending platforms, who are the top NFT things to get the collections kind of integrated. Magic Eden does support Abstract, so you'll be able to trade Puppets on Abstract or Node Monkeys on Base, right? Or for Merlin, they kind of have different requests. They just want all the different Bitcoin denominated assets. So counterparty, stamps, ordinals, etc. And yeah, it's going to be exciting. And the goal would be by the end of the first quarter to be on maybe 15 EVM chains and then have the jump feature initialized. And then in the beginning of quarter 2, we have the Solana stuff built. It just has to be kind of integrated into the interface. So then you can also, maybe sometime in April or May, you'll be able to mint Puppets to Solana to then go participate. And really whatever you want. And then that's where a lot of the fun starts. Because once we're on every chain, then it's figuring out what are the incentives, figure out what users want to do. It's also one of the big hurdles and why I've come to understand why nobody builds NFT bridges is because there's an insane amount of cultural relevance and you know, like you have to be savvy in how these communities operate, of why they'd want to do it, because most people just don't want to go through, you know, the bridging process. But what we've learned, this is probably the same thing that Bob is considered and Arch is considered, is that, you know, it more relevant for us with Emblem is, you know, 9 of 10 vaults that are created are never unvaulted. So once the NFT is in the ecosystem, then generally it doesn't leave. It's generally participates, and that's how the TVL continues to grow. So it's kind of the same thing I'm assuming Bob is thinking is, hey, once the Bitcoin is deposited into this ecosystem, you know, they have probably a number on their side that's probably much less, but hey, you know, they say, you know, 20% of all the Bitcoin that's going to be deposited into Odin Fun probably will never leave, and it just continues to slosh around forever until, you know, the users lose their fund or something like that. So from us with NFTs, there's a much higher degree. I think of the like 100,000 vaults that have been minted, there's been like 6,000 vaults or 7,000 vaults that have been unlocked ever. So it's figuring out those incentives and letting users realize that once you're in the system, you can move your puppet to base in one transaction. Then you could go move it to Arbitrum. Then you could go move it to Avalanche or whatever chain that you want.
Yeah. I have a question. Let's just say I want to create like the Bitcoin Snakes collection. That I want to take the entire collection abstract, right? Let's say it's 3,000. Would this be really expensive for me? Obviously, I have to mint them all to myself and do all that stuff. But like after they're all done, is it really expensive for me to potentially use you guys to actually take this entire collection to abstract?
So custom ones like that, we could have conversations. The cool part of minting to these L2s is the gas fee is literally like a penny.
Yeah.
So then you're really just paying the emblem fee, which the vaulting fee is $20 per. We're going to add some discounts for bulk mint. So when you do it more, we also have a discount program where if you have 500,000 Koval vaulted, then the vaulting fee comes down to $8 per. It depends on the supply. With those kind of things, we actually work with Ordinals bot directly.
Gotcha.
We did the 10,000 megapunks inscribed to vault collection back in 2023. We did the same thing with Coldy for 300. We've been approached by a handful of people to do this. So they're generally our direct partner because we've done it now 3-4 times with different types of collections.
Gotcha. That's awesome because I think that's probably going to be something in the future that could happen. It's obviously going to be really expensive, but then at the end of the day, you're not using IPFS, right? I mean, a little bit on you guys' end, but they're it's scrapped into Bitcoin forever, and you're actually just moving them around. So
yeah,
I thought that was a good idea.
I do suspect that in the future, we get a lot of these requests of, you know, hey, I want to, and this was relevant 2 years ago. Hey, I want to inscribe on Ordinals, but then I want to mint it to Solana. That was like the big one for years. Now it seems it's kind of shifted to base, to be honest. It seems like a lot of people want to inscribe on a Bitcoin and then mint it to base. We still get Solana requests as well. So we would like to build some, this is thinking the future and some of the projects we've talked about. You know, we'd like to create something like a manifold for NFT collections to where you can basically create your own contracts. You don't even have to ask us. You just basically input all the inscription IDs, and then you can say, hey, I have a 300 piece collection. It's being inscribed on Ordinals. Here's the 300 inscription IDs. Now I want to mint a collection to Solana base, Arbitrum, abstracts all together, and it enables the jump feature. And then you just go ahead and do it kind of like a manifold experience. That's something that we're definitely building towards. Definitely need some more capital. So hopefully some people purchase these founder vaults so that we can continue to scale. And that was like the intention, to continue hiring and to scale that way, because having to do this manually is a little painful. We're happy to do it. And we're actually getting a lot of teams reaching out to us to say their request is, hey, I want to migrate from ETH-scription to base, or right, I want to migrate from ETH mainnet to Arbitrum, or some users are just like, hey, the stamps ecosystem is not doing too well. I'd rather just trade we'd like our community to just trade on base in a more frictionless environment. So we're going to be doing those custom ones. There's like maybe 5 or so people, different communities that have reached out to us. And the larger attempts, right, are like the cultural barriers with like puppets and quantum cats and stuff like that. Because you generally need the founder of the collection generally has to kind of socially sign off on it and say, hey, it's okay, go take them wherever you want. Most Bitcoin collection owners are generally kind of, more tribalistic. But then there's a few communities that basically don't give a fuck what the founder says. They just kind of go do what they do. I think this is why Rare Pepe has had such a big success with us, is that there is no central leader, right? It's 300 different people. And the Rare Pepe community is always so far ahead of anyone else is because it operates like Bitcoin, right? There is no leader. And they basically just use whatever is the best product to get, they utilize the best product to fit whatever their needs are at the time. And so when they found Emblem Vault in 2021, the Rare Pepe community was just like, we just need to trade these, right? We need to do whatever it is. This is a massive collection. We just need to figure out a way to get liquidity. And so they used Emblem Vault, and they still continue to do it to this day, even though there is native trading with counterparty. And so with something like a Bitcoin puppet, you'd have to, I suspect, unless the incentives are so strong on abstract to where, Luca comes out and says that he wants puppets over there and he's going to incentivize it. I suspect you need Le Puppeteur to basically tell the community, hey, this is okay to happen, or else it's probably going to be a low turnout. And, I'll reach out to him to get his opinion. I suspect the majority of these people are probably just going to ignore me or ignore us or say no. But, that's part of the game. That's why we do play it. And generally the smart ones that are bridging their NFTs are generally the ones who realize that there's an insane opportunity to generate yield on the same asset 10 times.
So I've been kind of bringing this analogy to the table with, bringing Ordinal to other ecosystems and stuff. Like, we've been talking about abstract, so let's do that one because it's really the one that's been focused on lately. Lucas seems to want Ordinals because it is like a high value digital asset class, right? So I compare it to like having like a Nordstrom store that wants to like have Louis Vuitton bags in the front or something like that. You know what I mean? And I think that like eventually, if we're going to this interoperability type of approach, that like it's not going to stop at abstract. It's going to be like, oh, okay, you can find they also you can find on this protocol on base that has puppets and also abstract because they want that. Because at the end of the day, if you remember from last NFT bull market, like the ETH NFTs were high value, and then whenever everything was crazy, there was so much money going around. Yes, there was some like high value stuff on other L2s and EVM chains, but as soon as that like it started going down, those are the first to go out. And so I think it's going to be like products, like Bitcoin's like the manufacturing warehouse to manufacture these high value assets. Let's take them and tell the world about like Mercedes, Louis Vuitton, kind of that kind of thing. Do you think that will ever be the mindset?
It's going to be tough. I think as more blockchains are created and as new users come into the space, the culture changes. And just the idea of maximalism is just so inherently naive to the person who comes into crypto today, right? They don't care what chain it's on for the most part. They understand the vision, but the cypherpunk ethos dwindles a little bit over time. Also, like this idea of everything needing to be completely on chain has also changed drastically over last years. Emblem has some off chain components. Odin Fun has some off chain components to it. Arch has some off chain components to it. And I think users are realizing that, to have something completely on chain is first, it's not efficient. Yes, there are certain things that should be completely on chain, but the majority of things probably should not. And it just takes probably a few big wins or big opportunities for people to realize it. So when we have our conversations with Abstract, they have told us that they are really interested in ordinals, again, because of the high value assets, but also the larger vision of chain abstraction, this larger idea of being the hub, right, for different types of IP and different types of large communities to come and, access them. Whether it's for trading, to be determined. But they said they have another 100 or 200 applications who are going to come through the portal with us in kind of the next cohort. And, things like Story Protocol, who are doing IP, has expressed interest in bringing ordinals over, obviously Merlin. And it's going to take some time. And from the Emblem side of things, right, we just kind of have to survive and continue doing what we're doing and continue to educate. There's always going to be the small kind of share of people who are not going to participate. I've been under the opinion the last 2 years that the interoperability cycle is the next cycle. So maybe 2-3 years from now. And then that's when it becomes very seamless and but at that point, everyone's going to be like, oh, no shit, this was so obvious from the beginning. And it could be something even outside of Emblem. It could be something like BlackRock coming in and, acquiring an interoperability protocol or having success with RWAs, which are loosely associated to cross-chain protocols. But to me, it's always seemed like an inevitability. And it's just like existing in the real world today. Like the majority of people are going to other countries to access whatever the strength is of that, right? People in Japan are exporting, Mitsubishi vehicles because they are superior to the majority of them for the general population. The United States, when we leave the United States, we're taking the clothes that we're wearing that was made in the United States, right, to a different country. Yeah. We're taking the money from the United States over. When a lot of people move to different countries, they import their American vehicle to another country, right? You take the art that was made in one country to another. And I look at the crypto space generally as it mimics reality, just adds this kind of programmable layer on top of it. And so it takes a large culture. I think it's going to take a large culture change for that to happen. But the culture is changing within every new cohort that comes. And if there's an ordinal community out there that's following this, you guys have been very bullish on interoperability. So have we. But it takes the entire community or a large percentage of the community to identify that, hey, there's a massive opportunity here. As long as, people buy in or at least are just open to new type of ideas. And the time is continually punished those who are maximalist or tribalist. Continually, every single cycle, right? This cycle, it was Ethereum. All the Ethereum maxis have been just brutally punished. Last cycle, it was Bitcoin maxis that were brutally punished, right? The cycle after this, it's probably going to be NFT maximalists or chain maximalists within their different ecosystems, right? Like, oh, I'm only going to trade meme coins on Solana, or I'm only going to keep, my ordinals on Bitcoin, or something of that nature, or I'm not going to use L2s, or whatever the kind of case is. Whatever the next cycle is just going to punish whoever the maximalist is of today.
Yeah, I agree with that.
I love that. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. It's almost kind of backwards business mentality too. It's backwards business and marketing mentality. It's like, we don't want people to know about us because like we have our own team over here, and then they're like, why our number not go up? It's because no one knows about you, or you're not letting your branding get out there, you crazy people. But anyways, like you said, it's inevitable. It's just going to be a time thing.
Yeah, it's it's tough. Also, you add into the mix of this AI and more so like the intelligence layer. So we've been teasing. Shannon's been teasing some stuff from his Twitter account to where he's built Agent Hustle in a way to where it can do the vaulting for you, right? Or it can do the bridging for you. You just use the command center.
Love that.
And for the majority of people who are going to be entering crypto from today into the future forever, have probably interacted with AI first and crypto second. Crypto has about 50 million active users per month. That could even be pretty high. OpenAI alone has 200 million active subscribers that are using it monthly. So just the statistics show that most people are going to be AI oriented over crypto oriented. And so if they come into crypto and then they can say, hey, you know, I want you to take my Bitcoin puppet and find the best yield opportunity. Like everything that happens in the background, they don't give a fuck. They just want whatever the number is at the end of the day. And then they're also going to be completely unaware of the pain and frustration that the crypto community has gone through over the last 15 years in terms of a horrible UX and this having to sit there and manage your LP position for literally every 5 minutes, having to change and rotate, or you know, the pain of having to bridge and wait for a long time, or bridging all these assets. Like most people are not even going to remember that a few years from now. And the intelligence layer is going to change that. Like as long as people kind of look at AI and you look past kind of the meme coins and stuff. And yes, we do have like a Tensorium token as well, but that's going to be just for Tensor. Maybe we can talk about that later. But looking at it just as an intelligence layer that's going to completely remove the UX, that only further reinforces cross-chain capabilities, because AI agents are going to be chain agnostic. They're just going to be looking for whatever kind of the bottom line is there. Yeah.
This is the video right here, right? Can I play it?
Yeah. So he's been putting a few, and you can go ahead and play it if you want. Just turn the mute off because there's a song, or turn the sound. Yeah. So one of the marketing strategies we're doing from Shannon's account is that he's going to post these different types of things. So he has basically here on the left, Agent Hustle. It's almost like a ChatGPT operator. And so he's having Agent Hustle command these websites on the left-hand side. And I think at the end of this video, he actually has Agent Hustle talking to Agent Hustle here towards the end, which is pretty crazy. So you could see the Agent Hustle on the right, who's commanding it, and then Agent Hustle on the left is who he's talking with. So he's literally doing agent to agent communication. It's kind of more of just a demo or display of these different things he can do. But we're going to add this into Emblem Vault over time, and so that you don't even have to. But the cool part is, if we can build this in a right way, you would just ask Agent Hustle, hey, where is the best which marketplace has the highest resting bid for a Bitcoin puppet collection? So let's say we deploy a Bitcoin puppet collection on every chain, and you just say, hey, which blockchain has the highest resting bid on Bitcoin puppets? And he says, oh, the highest resting bid is on Base, and it's 10% higher than all of these other ones. And then you just say, vault it and accept the bid. And that's literally all you have to do, right? And and for those people who are going to be maximalists, you know, they're going to miss out on the opportunity. And this is actually happening today, but not with AI. I'll use the Rare Pepe example because this happens dozens of times per day. Users hold their Rare Pepes natively, and they'll go to OpenSea and they'll just look for resting bids of the native assets that they hold. And when they see a resting bid there on OpenSea, they just vault the asset and accept the bid, and then they're just done. Oh. And then the person just has the person who is on Ethereum has their Rare Pepe in Ethereum Vault, and they're probably an Ethereum user more regularly than they are a native asset user. So this is why the Rare Pepe generally stays in the vault. The person found the arbitrage opportunity because the person on Ethereum is paying generally a little bit of a convenience fee because they don't want to have to go buy it natively. They don't want to have to deal with the mempool or whatever the case is. And so it becomes a win-win situation for everyone. And so we're trying to take this idea to every chain. And I just hope that users who are listening, or those who have assets, just realize that, you know, you're literally going to be passing up lots of capital and lots of opportunity because, you know, you stay in your ways. And, you know, some people have definitely a fundamental right to hold them and self-custody them in different types of ways. There's also a little bit of a fear still in the industry of, hey, because there's some centralization to this protocol, or hey, because there's some off-chain components, right? Then they're definitely going to rug us. Like that that kind of stuff is happening less and less in the industry. Like
Yeah.
last cycle, there was protocol implosions left and right and bridge hacks. Like you don't see them ever. Like maybe it happens once a month now, right? It's like it's very rare, and it's because security is getting better. People are figuring out different ways to protect their protocols. You know, Emblem's never had a security exploit in 5 years.
Wow.
We practice, you know, proper security. We've never lost a vault either. The legacy collection people have traded fake vaults, but that's a different kind of case. So we do move with a high security. There are some central components to the protocol, and that's what we're working to decentralize over time as as everything grows. And you know, the whole idea is just to create this token abstraction layer for NFTs where, hey, if I have a pizza ninja, it doesn't matter where I'm holding it. I can hold it natively or I can hold it on base. I can just use Emblem Vault to find whatever the highest bid is, or I could just find the marketplace that has the lowest marketplace fee. Like, for example, if people buy into the vision, then, you know, if you have 10% of a collection that's in a vault, now the user, the community gets to use whatever marketplace has the lowest fee. So generally it's going to bring all marketplace fees to 0%, right? And so I think this is why some marketplaces are a little hesitant to support us, because they realize that if every community has access to every single marketplace, it doesn't matter the chain. Now every single marketplace has to compete across all blockchains. So Magic Eden, right? If you have OpenSea who's only supporting EVM, and then you have Magic Eden who's only supporting Sol. This is just an example. And then you have this other marketplace that's only supporting Move chains like Sui and stuff like that. But they're using Emblem Vault that's on every chain. It doesn't matter if, you know, if Magic Eden has a 2.5% fee, or if OpenSea has a 2.5% fee, and Magic Eden has a 2%, but this marketplace on Sui has 0%. Then why would you use these other ones? You would just trade on that 0% marketplace. And it does the same thing with yield rates, and it does the same thing with loan offers. And so it takes a community to buy into it, and it's an insane opportunity for everyone. And you know, we fully intend to build this vision out. And I appreciate both of you guys for seeing the vision, you know, as well as all the other individuals who watch this show, because whichever community is the first one through the door, I think, you know what, especially on Bitcoin for a second, like whether it's Node Monkeys or Pizza Ninjas or Bitcoin Puppets or whoever, you know, they'll probably get the best offers across all of the chains after it hits off on Merlin, or if it hits off on Abstract, or whatever the case is. So people are coming for your ordinals. These chains are really excited to bring these communities over and to you know, integrate into their kind of overall vision. And for you, you know, you just vault it, and then you just get to play the game with everyone else.
Yep. I want to get to this comment from one of our community members, Mice Elf, which has been really active the past couple of weeks. Appreciate that. But he says, I heard that same talking point 2 cycles ago. No one will know that you know, they're using a crypto bridge in a few years. Yeah, right. Well, I would say that the difference is account abstraction wasn't a hot thing a couple cycles ago, right? So that actually, you're starting to notice, like, you didn't see wallets add support for other chains a couple cycles ago. You're seeing Phantom Wallet they just add Sui support. That's wild, you know, and they have Bitcoin support. And then, you know, Magic Eden goes across the board. MetaMask just posted job hirings for Bitcoin wallet developers. So, you know, myself, I get where you're coming from, but I think the people that made those statements were way ahead of their time. And I think now is the time that we're actually seeing tech developed specifically for this idea. I don't know. What do you think about that?
You know, myself definitely has a very valid point. Maybe if you say they don't know they're using a bridge, you know, most people maybe will. I'm just generally kind of speaking here. The market follows wherever the liquidity goes, and if the liquidity is to participate in, you know, account abstraction and bridging, then people are going to do that, and it becomes this 0 to 1 situation where once you kind of pass this certain level of adoption, then there is no turning back, right? It's like once Pump.fun was used for so long or got this amount of liquidity, now you have a Pump.fun on kind of every chain, because that's kind of, it's now been crowned and accepted. I mean, there's literally billions of dollars going through fungible token bridges right now, every day. Like, people are doing this already. Emblem Vault has 100 million in TVL. People are doing it now. Like, it's just we're the nerdy ones who are sitting here hanging out, talking about this stuff, building it. Decentralized protocols take much longer to build than generally accepted. If you go even just one cycle back, NFTs just started. Emblem Vault launched in 2020. So Emblem Vault launched kind of right before the NFT bull run was even created. The first crypto bridge was created in 2019. So we're really only, or maybe late 2018. So, we're really only 7 years into just interoperability in general. For the first 5 years, this idea of crypto bridges or atomic swaps was an idea. Atomic swaps was first proposed in 2012, I believe. The first atomic swap didn't happen until 2017 with Litecoin and Decred, I believe, was the first one. And then a year later, Bitcoin did an atomic swap on Lightning Network. So, really 2 years ago, crypto bridge was first implemented. Last year, crypto bridges went through a very tough time in terms of hacks. Right, the biggest hacks last year were definitely fungible token bridges. This year, you don't hear about that so much, and it is being used. For Ethereum to win, if Ethereum's going to win, it's going to have to figure out what the interoperability area is. And when most people are talking about bridges, they're talking about fungible tokens. With Emblem, we're taking on the other route with NFTs, and it's just going to take some time. I think next cycle is really where it's like the most obvious thing, but that's because the infrastructure will be built at that time.
Awesome. And then Memetics says a rocket will never be able to land itself. I mean, people were saying that, right? I know he's a member of the Emblem community, I believe.
He's a big
that's a true
Pepe
statement.
Guy.
Yeah. No one thought that a rocket could land itself until SpaceX did it, right? So we'll see.
Crypto has a way to humble you consistently. It also has a way to amaze you every day. Every day, I've been in this industry now going into my 9th year. I got into it summer of 2016. And every day I wake up and I'm just completely dumbfounded by sometimes the shit that most of the times by what the shit people do. But then, some days it's the technology it's created. Like yesterday, I had no idea Bob was creating this Odin Fun. And after I saw him post it and I kind of read through and watched the videos, I was like, oh yeah, if anyone was going to build this, it was probably going to be Bob, right?
Yeah.
And it's because he had all of these skills and had been in the industry for such a long time. And I've come to understand that's generally how a lot of this stuff works is you get these builders who hop around for a few years, going to different communities, trying out different things. And then eventually they can strike when the iron's hot and they compile all their skills together to kind of build something that's just like completely incredible. And, from the Emblem perspective, we're in that direction. Shannon created this company in 2016, hit mainnet in 2020. So again, Emblem was in the idea experimental stage for almost 4 years before it got to mainnet. And then after mainnet, it took 4 months for it to be adopted and then it took a year for it to have 30,000 ETH in trading volume. And now we fast forward 4 more years and the intelligence layer is going to drastically, I think the intelligence layer will solidify everything once we have this new V2 or Emblem 2.0 audited and live. And I think once people start seeing what you can do, you'll get as always, we'll get the Emblem community. I'm sure like Memetic X will test it out as well as a lot of people. And then we just have to have a few winners to show like, oh, this is definitely something, or this is something sustainable. And we're just going to continue working on this every day. There's always going to be a lot of critics, but I welcome them. I'm always available in the chat to have these conversations. I love having them. It's quite tough you know, I'm not the founder of Emblem. I just came in 2.5 years ago to basically realize like, holy fuck, if any protocol is going to do this to make NFTs cross chain or trade any NFT on any NFT or on any chain, I truly believe Emblem is the only company that can do this. If Emblem doesn't do it, then NFT interoperability is going to be probably stalled for probably a few years because there is no other team working on this. The only other competitors we really have are Layer 0 and Wormhole, but they're not retail facing companies. Here's the code, here's the SDK, go ahead and build it. And so some of the teams we've talked with, including Layer 0, who wants us to use Layer 0 for our jump feature. Right? Because they can bring the jump feature completely on chain. Whereas like our solution, the in-house solution is like partly off chain. So even our competitors want to work with us. And then like with Wormhole, it's the same situation. You saw like the DGods team, they used the NFT bridge to the Wormhole NFT bridge, but they had to build it on their own. And we were working with DGods 2 months before that DGods bridge popped up because they were building the D-Desk. So there is no other vaulting cross-chain solution that exists. At least from my 2.5 years with this company, I haven't seen anything else. That doesn't mean they can't exist, and I'm sure there's some other solutions will be created. I saw like ApeChain has their thing called Shadows, which is like it's an indexing solution, so it's only native to one single chain. And Emblem is just kind of forever tied with Rare Pepe. I think that's like the biggest advantage ever. If Emblem and Rare Pepe weren't as tied together as they are, I think Emblem would probably not be here today, to be honest. And so with that kind of collaborative venture, also with Spells of Genesis, it's quite tied as well. You know, it gives all the communities involved a drastic boost. Like any team or any project that's worked with Emblem has only seen a liquidity boost. I don't see any of them that hasn't, right? Like Namecoin NFTs, the Litecoin NFTs for a little while, Counterparty. And, we want to encourage and bring, that type of additional improvement to it. It's just a layer, right? It's not like it's going to capture or take over the collection. But if we could get 10% of a collection into vaults, I think that community will drastically see what the upside is. And then eventually you'll probably get the rest of it too. The largest penetration I've seen this is my final kind of tirade here. When you look at wrapped assets and bridged assets, the highest I've ever seen for a collection penetration is about 90%. That was the DGods when they bridged back from Ethereum to Solana. In terms of like wrapped assets, the highest one I've ever seen is Mooncats, which is they have 20,000 of 25,000 wrapped, and that's over the course of 4 years. And then anything out of that, I think the highest penetration or vaulted penetration we've seen was with Bitcoin punks. At one point, we had about 50% of them vaulted. And now it's down to like 10% or so, because a lot of them unvaulted when we basically had to pause for a year for trading. But if we didn't, and if we had Emblem 2.0 2 years ago when Ordinals first popped up, I guarantee you probably 30% of Ordinals would be trading in vaults right now. But, that's not the case. And so we got to basically start all over and build this out. And again, accept the criticism. Always happy to have the conversation with anybody. And NFT interoperable world, I'm telling you, is like the most beneficial opportunity for anybody or for all participants involved.
Yeah, man. Oh, I love it. The community definitely loves it too. We have 549 people in here on a Friday. It doesn't really happen. So it's been a really good day, man. Appreciate everything you've shared with the community, man. And we'd love to give you, maybe some final words if you have anything left. So
buy some founder vaults. That would be my biggest thing. Just to hammer on that for a second. So we launched the collection last week. There's going to be some confusion around it, which is completely understandable, especially with this Tensor token that's launched, and trying to segment that and kind of getting walked into that was a little interesting. But the future of Emblem is with keys. And so basically what we did, and we planned this, over a year ago. We knew Runes was going to go through some struggles. And so we felt that utility Runes was actually going to be a very large market because of the fact that Runes are a little inefficient at times. And so we said, hey, we're going to take, 20% of our, key supply. You're on the collection right now, it looks like.
Oh, this is it right here? Okay.
Yeah. We're going to take 20% of the supply. We're going to spread it across 1,000 NFTs, and we're going to lock the Runes inside for basically 9 months. And during this 9 months, we hope the Runes protocol will, be much more stable, because we do believe that having a fungible token as a utility token is probably the best case scenario, because generally those who are holding utility tokens are not cheaters. They're not trying to trade it every 5 seconds. They're generally much more of a longer term thinking community. And so we felt like Runes is probably the best place to do that, especially because we have a Bitcoin based community as well as a Bitcoin interoperability protocol. And so every vault that's purchased goes directly to Emblem. And that's what funds our development. And so, over the next 9 months, we're encouraged and hopeful that this sells out. And so we continue, funding the company and moving forward, because the stuff is not cheap. Once Keys is launched, it's going to be integrated into Emblem Vault and Emblem AI, our AI wallets, for, a handful of different kind of things that we have thought. And in 6 months, we'll find out actually what we can do, because the Trump administration has given the Crypto Council 180 days as of like a week ago to kind of figure out what crypto utility actually means. So if you believe in the long term of what we've shared, over the last few Fridays, or just in general, as we work with, Shizzy and Yagobi at Ordinal Revolution, then please purchase a founder vault and participate in the long-term vision with Emblem.
What would be the best way of doing that? Would it be OpenSea or contacting you guys, doing through you guys? Like, how would?
Yeah, if you could just go directly to the market. If you want to purchase a large order, or if you just want to remain private, you could reach out to us. We actually are getting ready to deliver our vaults to our Echo participants here pretty soon. So we haven't talked about this publicly yet, but we sold 100 founder vaults through Echo, which is Kobe's ICO platform. And we partnered with CryptoPathic, who's a very big OG. And we sold 100 vaults and sold out very quickly, actually, in CryptoPathic's Feisty Doge Collective. And so we know he has a very large amount of OG whales, right? Like, all of the kind of crypto OGs are in there. So once we do, actually going to find out here in the next few days who actually the buyers were. Maybe that encourages people to buy more. Once you find out, CryptoPathic and all these other people are kind of involved and see the long-term vision, then, maybe some other people will. But we're aware that the cross-chain stuff, hey, why would I put a Runes inside of an NFT? Why would I buy it on Ethereum and stuff, it's a never-ending education battle. But the best way I would just say it is, if you believe in the long-term vision of what's being shared here week after week, then purchase a founder vault. It's greatly appreciated. And shoot me a DM if you have any questions.
Yeah, absolutely. And you got to remember, guys, these guys are going to be about to be on 5 different EVM chains. And then that's just the first kind of phase. And after that, they're going to be everywhere. So they're going to be the go-to to bring Bitcoin ordinals to different marketplaces. And I like to call them storefronts, because I think that's what's happening. But amazing time again, Jake. I can't wait to kick it with you for the Bitcoin conference this year. So it's going to be fun.
Yeah, if you're at ETH Denver, we will be there as well. Our whole team is. I actually just saw today that Shannon is going to be on an AI panel with Eric Voorhees, who just launched.
Nice.
Who just launched Venice, the VVV token.
Yeah.
So if you guys are out at ETH Denver, please reach out to us. We have our whole entire team there. It's gonna be crazy. Me and Bunzi and Hath are all in a house together with Shannon.
Oh, that's dangerous.
It's gonna be, it's gonna be a blast. So I appreciate everyone. Appreciate you guys as always. And dude, have a good weekend.
You too, Jake.
You too.
See you, man. All right. Absolutely amazing as always, man. Really appreciate the guys from Emblem Vault. Guys, check them out. We're really bullish on them here, because the bridging ordinals to every chain is just monstrous, and then being able to have your AI do it for you. Right? Like that's what these guys are building. You guys are building the future of what we're going to be doing here, guys, and really appreciate you guys tuning in for Emblem Hour every Friday at 12:30, and that's the show.
Yep, and 558 people hanging out with us on a Friday, afternoon. We really appreciate each and every one of you guys. You guys allow us to be able to do this, right? And so we want to thank you for that, and we hope you learned something today. And we ask that if you don't mind taking a little extra time checking out our partners, we would greatly appreciate that. We just went over Emblem Vault. They are going to be the interoperability tool layer for the Bitcoin asset ecosystem. You're going to be able to jump your ordinals. We just talked about it, your puppets, your node monks to Bitcoin layer 2s like Merlin, Base, and then our abstract as well, Arbitrum too, and multiple. And that's just going to be the start. And once they roll their AI agent wallet, Bitcoin wallet as well out, you're going to be able to, tell Tensorium to do it for you. So it's going to be awesome. And don't forget about those keys, because that's going to be big. If they're everywhere, everybody knows about them. I think they're going to be one of the bigger brands that has growth from last cycle to this cycle. So you can learn more at emblem.vision. And then BetBTC is the predictions marketplace for the Bitcoin ecosystem. They utilize ICP and Bitcoin technology for you to be able to place bets on their marketplace. And then they're about to have new features rolled out. The 24-hour markets is coming very soon. You're going to be able to create your own markets, which is going to be my favorite part, because you're going to be able to earn up to 1.5% of the total volume of bets placed in your specific market that you created. And they're also going to have a future rune as well. And you can actually use the platform to earn points to be able to get the airdrop for that rune. Learn more at betbtc.win. And BitPerp is the perps and leverage DEX of the Bitcoin ecosystem. You're going to be able to trade tokens outside of the Bitcoin ecosystem, like Trump token, as well as, of course, synthetic runes like Dog Go to the Moon, $1 Billion Cat, stuff like that. They're going to be more than just a perps platform. They're going to be adding other DeFi features and have other kind of, parts of their platform that you're going to be able to interact with as well. We're going to start a segment, hopefully weekly segment with them starting this Tuesday. So make sure you tune in at 12 p.m. Eastern every Tuesday. But you can learn more at bitperp.io. And Fluid Tokens, the UTXO wizard devs, I like to call them, because they are the first to introduce retail staking vaults for you guys. If you are a big fan of Dog Go to the Moon, make sure you're paying attention, because this is all layer 1 staking. You're going to be able to stake your Dog Go to the Moon to earn possibly more Dog Go to the Moon, or whatever the reward's going to be. They're going to announce it very soon. And they have a big partner with their staking vaults next week. If you are a creator of an Ordinal collection, or you etched a rune and you want to get a staking vault, and you have an established community, that part's important, make sure you reach out to Raul, which is the CTO of Fluid Tokens, to get you guys hooked up. You can learn more at fluidtokens.com and click on the Bitcoin logo there. And Merlin Chain, your #1 scaling solution for Bitcoin native L1 assets and protocols. If you're a builder on Bitcoin L1 and you want to have a more flexible, quick part of your protocol on Bitcoin Layer 2, reach out to Merlin Chain. They have builder grants there you can apply for. They have great builder support as well. We've seen it firsthand. And if you are a retail user and you want to swap for a synthetic version of Dog Go to the Moon, you can do so at merlinswap.org. And so learn more about Merlin Chain at merlinchain.io. And don't forget about our integrated partners, Foxy, which we're going to be live streaming tomorrow morning at 8 a.m., the first-person shooter game called Clan Wars. And they're also building the metaverse on Bitcoin called the Bitverse. And don't forget about our last one here, Ordinal Hive, which is the aggregator ordinal marketplace for Bitcoin Layer 1 and Layer 2. You're going to be able to find the cheapest ordinals around. And they have amazing features with their live mempool insights. So, for example, if you're on their website, and you see like someone fat fingered a node monk for like $15, you can see it there. They'll show you live. You can hurry up and try to go and win that cheap node monk. But yeah, it's going to be super exciting once they release their mainnet to the public. But thank you so much for checking out our partners.
Yeah, man. Yeah, man. Great job on that. And if you guys wouldn't mind checking out ordinalrevolution.com, we have some of the best articles dating all the way back to last year. If you know someone that's just entering the space, send them our website. We really feel you can help them get started and caught up to where we are today. If you guys need a VPN, we have the #1 VPN. That's NordVPN. We have a 70% off coupon for Nord. you guys really shouldn't be using the internet without a VPN, guys. Everyone should have a VPN. Giving everyone your IP address is not a good idea. It's stupid when you can have a VPN, especially for $3 a month. Or there's free ones out there as well. Get yourself a free one, but the Nord ones, in my opinion, is the best and worth the $3 a month. If you guys are going to Bitcoin 2025 Vegas, it's going to be absolutely insane. It's going to be crazy, you guys. Don't wait till May to get them. These things go up in price every single week. It seems like every Friday they go up in price. So get yours as soon as possible. It's going to be fun. It's going to be exciting. Do not miss it. If you guys need merch, we have some of the best merch in the entire crypto space, not just Ordinals. Check out everything here at the store, all done through a third party. If you would like us to add your logo or whatever you guys want, we can add pretty much anything. Just let us know. We can add to our store for you guys to purchase. But we appreciate you guys. We are live Monday to Friday, 11 a.m. Eastern, 10 a.m. Central, 8 a.m. Pacific, and 4 p.m. UTC. We appreciate you guys, all 577 of you guys, and until tomorrow.
Peace.
We OG, we OG, OG, oh no. You're not bullish, you're not bullish, you're not, oh no, you're not bullish, you're not bullish. You ain't got the Ordinal, I get stoned by the bolo. Bitcoin set to overload, yeah. Experts on reload, yeah. You're not bullish, you're not bullish, you're not, oh no, you're not bullish, you're not bullish. You ain't got the Ordinal, I get stoned by the bolo. Bitcoin set to overload, experts on reload. Man, boo getting high, body wanna rock, news coming, body on a naughty, it's a nuisance, Ordinal Revolution, Ordinal Revolution. Yo, I got for real, got friends right now. Yo, BRC 420, bro. Yo, that shit fire, bro. Imagine it being here. Yeah, like it in the seal, I got balls of steel. Newbie on the field, yeah, this shit for real. With no calls, I get so far. Got 100 phone calls that I go hard, and they gon' love me. We huddle back, I get shiesty. Where my Bitcoin looking lovely, all this atrocious, nothing above me.